Hello, everyone. This is the Dreadpirate once again, and I am a disembodied head floating next to my friend Josh and Star Killer. And hello, everyone. And Josh has some announcements. We're gonna do a short reading about a true story about me being stupid, and it's gonna be good times. And we're gonna do that. And what do you have on the block for the day, sir? What do you have planned? What do you plan for us?
Not too much. First, we have to talk about a movie that I've seen, that most people I don't think have, called Guns Akimbo. I've mentioned it several times before. So here we go. I'll actually talk about it.
So Guns Akimbo, we have some Marvel announcements.
Yes.
I have shameless self-promotions. And I guess I could talk about The Godfather, maybe. No, we'll probably not do that. Let's do this thing. Okay, Guns Akimbo. Josh, what's Guns Akimbo?
Oh, what is Guns Akimbo? So, Guns Akimbo is, I want to say, like an indie film that came out in 2019. It stars Daniel Radcliff. Most people will know him as Harry Potter. And ever since Harry Potter, I don't know about you, but I've noticed this. Ever since Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe has been doing more and more movies that are just weird as shit. Like he teams up with, because he tried to.
Okay, well, what was the one where he played a corpse that was still alive, like a zombie, that like is a guy's best.
I saw that movie.
Yeah.
Well, that was good. That was Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army Man, that's right.
Yeah, because there's different functions to when you pull his body and twist things that he can do something.
Yeah.
Like Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army.
But that's exactly my point. He's been doing movies like over the many years right after Harry Potter. He did like one horror movie that went to theaters, but it was kind of boring. And after that, then it was just like indie projects. And honestly, his indie stuff is really good. He did.
He's also in Victor Frankenstein. I don't know, is that like a horror movie or more like a weird like it's like the story of Victor Frankenstein, you know, like as a young man making his first body, making his first Frankenstein monster.
You know, the problem with that is I feel like I might have seen that movie, but I don't remember it. I'm not sure.
It was a Max Landis movie who we're not allowed to talk about anymore because of things. I know you're a fan of Chronicles, so... and I'm a big fan of Red Letter Media. We're just not allowed to talk about him anymore. Alright.
Yeah. I'm actually... That was sarcasm, because I'm not really a fan of Chronicles at all.
That's one of those you were like, oh, Daddy, you need to watch Go Good, die!
Oh, no, I liked it because it tortured you. It was like, because there was times where you would introduce shows to me that were hit or miss, and the misses just really bothered me, but you would like really love them. And so when I actually found something,
Mystery Science Theater 2000 with me, you just won't do it. You and Davis, what? You can't take an hour and a half of a guy going, your weapons will not work against me. You can't deal with that. Whatever.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, it was nice to pay that.
Small dick.
Very small. Now, that being said, he's been doing a lot of indie stuff, and I honestly think the indie stuff, while also weird, has been very good. Mm-hmm. This is one of those, but it's an acquired taste. You have to kind of like this type of movie. It's from New Zealand. It's action comedy, and like I said, I believe it did go to the box office, but it didn't do well. It had a small budget.
It is called Guns Akimbo. So,
yeah.
It does have kind of a Monster A Go-Go sort of vibe, at least in the title department.
Yeah, sort of it does. And it kind of falls in that... Like I said, when I watched this movie, I kind of was like, oh, what the hell? It was on Amazon.
Tips for filmmakers, don't make your movie called A Go-Go or Akimbo.
Well, it's just a weird combination of words.
Yeah.
You know, like
sure.
I mean, a lot of people don't even know what Akimbo is, so it's like, what the hell? But what was I going to say? But yeah, no, it did have a short run in the theaters because of COVID-19. Took it off, but it wasn't helping. I mean, like I said, this movie was done on a $15 million budget, and it only got $1 million. And it's like, I don't think it would have gotten much more.
I just realized something. We haven't talked about the Oscars. Do we care?
Did you see? No, I don't. I didn't even watch it.
Moving on. There's our Oscar discussion.
It would have to be you talking about it if that's the case, because I actually didn't watch it.
Because I'm trying to think, well, like, Oscars for what? It was like we were trapped in our houses. Joe Exotic, can you accept the Oscar from prison?
No, there were movies that were. You gotta remember, at that point they were like, okay, we will allow movies that were streamed, because a lot of movies that were supposed to be in theaters went to streaming services. Right. I mean, first you had to pay for them, but then whatever.
Yeah. And
so they were like, so long as it's a movie that was made during X, Y, and Z. Actually, the thing too is that, remember, the Oscars are because nothing really was coming out 2020. So yeah, but it's like they took what they could work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like for my money, like Bill and Ted Face the Music should win everything. It was really good. It was really uplifting. It's exactly what I needed in 2020. And Bill and Jay and Silent Bob were like reboot was like surprisingly good. It was like I didn't know I wanted this, but I did. It was pretty.
Anyway, let me get through this movie then. All right, so yeah, it takes place in like an alternate near future where there's an underground fight club / criminal organization called Schism, right? And they have achieved this massive popularity by live streaming real death matches between criminals and psychopaths.
They also make really weird Tool music videos.
So what happens here is that Daniel Radcliffe plays Miles.
Wait a minute. Is this the premise for like Kevin Tarkattan's like Mortal Kombat movie that never happened? Yeah, because it was like Mortal Kombat, but it was set like in a city, and it was just a fight club between like psychopaths and assassins.
Oh!
And they rationally explained all the supernatural elements. Remember that really cool trailer with 7 of 9 in it and Keith David?
No.
Remember that? It was good. Wait, it wasn't Keith David. It was it was the other guy.
Stop talking. First off, you're thinking of Michael J. White.
Michael J. White. Yes, thank you.
And second, no, I'm not saying no because I didn't see it, because I did. I'm saying no, that's not at all like this.
Okay.
Because I'm only bringing that part up, because it's important, because it exists.
Okay.
And that our main character, Miles, is going to get caught up in it. But when you start the movie, there's not much to it. Like, you see it as an advertisement, you see it as people watching on their tablets and their phones, and they're going crazy over this junk, and it's insane. But the rest of the world seems normal outside of Schism. Outside of Schism existing, outside of people loving Schism, everything seems contemporary and mundane. And you're just like, F.
When does he get the plastic surgeon Will.I.Am version of Baraka?
What?
Remember how Baraka had like the dreadlocks in the trailer?
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, I want to imagine, for the sake of my own, like, as you're describing this, I'm just going to imagine this takes place in the world of The Thinning, which is the Logan Paul movie where they execute people if you don't pass standardized tests. This, from my head canon, that's where this world takes place. Continue.
Okay. So Miles is a regular computer programmer who's broken up from his girlfriend, and he's basically depressed, but he wastes his day when he's off just going online and trolling people. That's what makes him happy, drinking and trolling.
So he's you and me.
Sort of. I don't go trolling. I go drinking. You go drinking and trolling.
You troll in real life. You don't. I troll on digitally.
When you're supposed to troll. I don't understand this whole like, oh, you can't see me, so I probably.
Josh is not with the 21st century. He's like, no, I'm going to insult people.
I'm upset with that. I'm really upset with the fact that people think they're proper trolls because they're hiding behind you know, this mask about you. Well, I don't know who that is.
Josh hides under a bridge like a proper troll. Look at
Yes.
Look, you do look like Olaf the troll. I'm prepping this Buffy game. I can't wait for them to run into Olaf.
You can cross my bridge for free if you answer these riddles 3D. It's like that's what I do. Anyway, back to this movie, please.
Okay, sorry.
You're gonna move because I don't think this movie needs that much.
Jokes in this review.
So one night, Miles logs onto Schism, drunk and high and whatever, and he decides to troll those people. All right.
Okay.
This leads to them, the boss, whatever, finding him.
Seems like a really bad idea, but okay.
Yeah, because this thing is, here's what kills about this is that this exists, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, I guess because of corruption or whatever, it's allowed. But it's not run by like a corporation. It's run by or government something. No, it's run by this criminal organization.
Okay. That
has a pirate TV, internet show, whatever.
Okay.
Okay. And no one. And it's almost as if they give out a pass because the contestants, if you call it that, are all criminal people.
Yeah.
You know, people who've done terrible things or whatever. So you gotta imagine like someone clearly was watching. What's that movie called? Death Race?
The Running Man.
Or Running Man.
The Running Man is the good version.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like, any one of these films and books have already been done.
Yeah.
But the fun thing about this movie is that it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have a huge focus about this. The story's about Miles. And how it's almost like a cautionary tale, be careful how you run your mouth and shit, because that's what ends up happening. The criminal boss and his goons, they track him. They find him, they bust into his apartment, they kick his goddamn ass, and they end up knocking him out with a drug. He wakes up, and he has these 2 guns bolted to his fucking hands.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like nails to the hand, Jesus style, but it's bolted and he can't take them off. So now he has gun hands.
So they turned him into an action figure from the 90s.
Yeah, they did. This is the Akimbo part because he's double wielding, and it's like, but they left his apartment. They let him know that he's now being watched. There's drones following him. He's a part of Schism, and that they've set someone up after him. Trying to remember the boss's name was Victor. I don't remember that much, but I missed this, but there's this chick who is the one who's going after him, and she's in debt. She has a lot of debts or whatever, and if Schisms again, it's like it's a Running Man or whatever ripoff. You do so many kills or so many wins, and then you get off, right?
Oh, kind of like this is also the anime series. You got to get enough points before you can leave the game.
Yeah, exactly. So, so what happens is that this chick is going after him. Meanwhile, he's just trying to live. Like when she gets to the apartment and starts blowing shit up, he's trying to. There's one where he's trying to put on his pants with guns. He has to learn how to call a cab with the freaking gun hands. People are freaking out, and that's the thing. The comedy comes from no, wait, I swear I'm okay, and they're like, oh, and they're freaking out, and all this bullshit stuff. It's him just trying to survive.
This is a Richard Pryor theme story, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to call a cab, waving a gun around.
Nix, her name was Nix. But the whole time he's trying to figure out a way to get these damn guns off his hands, but also without showing people his hands because he's realizing the effect that has. And it's a pain in the ass too because sometimes if he gets agitated, his fingers squeeze the trigger and the bullet goes off and people go nuts. And but it's crazy in the best way possible. It's the kind of thing like this is nuts, but the movie kind of like knows just have fun. Like I said, it's as much as it is action and gore, it's a comedy.
I think I just because I'm hearing you talking, but I'm just thinking, is that Richard Pryor that was waving a gun around, or is that like Martin Lawrence? Or was Richard Pryor just like head on fire? Did I get that reference right? I think I might have gotten that reference wrong.
Normally I'd be upset, but you know what? It's Guns Akimbo. You gotta understand, folks, that this is a movie that I saw on a whim. It's free, and I just thought this was actually really cool. It's weird as hell. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah. The action is great. The war is hardcore. It's funny. He himself is amazing in it. Daniel Radcliffe does great with this weird and wacky sense of humor, as well as what's it called, like slapstick and practical comedy. He's really good at just like falling down, tripping, and slipping, and all this kind of stuff. He does this so well, and I was just like, this is cool. I mean, there's things about it that are really generic, and you know, you get that moment where the girlfriend he's pining over gets caught up in this mess, and he's got to save her at some point, you know, way down the line of the movie. But it's just, I don't know, if you're into that sort of thing, like I am, I recommend it, honestly. It's like, like I said, it's like Running Man meets Boondock Saints. It was actually really, really fun.
Well, like, like, the premise, like, of them having an underground fight club that, like, I think it's kind of different take, because you think of, like, Running Man or, Death Race even, it's like, I think it's more like a post-apocalyptic sort of corrupt government type thing, where it's like Running Man especially, it's like the idea is that the government is corrupt and is like kind of a 1980s fascism world that we're living in, but they're controlling everybody with bread and circuses. You know, it's like the Running Man show keeps people in line, and they keep telling people, "Oh yeah, we put criminals in here, but also, they have an opportunity to like to win."
But if they win,
and which they're lying about that. But it's all like controlling people, and it's just like, and there's other things that's happening, like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger goes to jail in that because he refused to fire on protesters. You know, that was the premise there. This, it seems more like their idea is, okay, well, the government's not necessarily okay with this, but it's like a different type of corruption. It's like apathy. It's like, who cares? Who get like, it's a bunch of criminals, you know, and psychopaths killing each other. It's more like incompetence on a part of the authorities than straight up control. Just like, we don't feel like it. It's like, it's a different type of problem essentially for that story. For that world. Yes,
and that's kind of what happens in this film, because it really is like, seriously, people, this is just happening.
We are not sponsored by McDonald's, but you know.
but it's funny. It's like, there is a moment in time. There's moments when I'm watching the movie going, wow, this just like exists, and it's kind of like, okay, this is horrible. But again, a lot of these, and it plays on the fact that how a lot of people treat shit. Like, I'd love to believe that if such a thing existed, more people would be horrified by the fact that this exists. Yeah. But this is yet one of those movies where it's a dark comedy, where they're like, yeah!
I thought the other ripoff of this, which also came out, Gamer. You remember Gamer?
Gamer, yes, that was, okay.
Yeah.
That was the
movie. Leonidas.
That's the movie. Yeah, that's the movie I was trying to think of when I was talking to you right now.
They're all inferior versions of Running Man. But, like, this at least has, like, an idea that I think is kind of clever, where it's like, it's more like a comedy, and it's played... It's Daniel Radcliffe being wacky, so it's like, I could get into this. I could check this out.
You know, it's fun. It doesn't have the best Rotten Tomato score. It doesn't have the best rating. It doesn't have the worst, either.
Yeah.
But... I think, what was it, like 52%?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like...
Gosh, I just got my topic for today.
Okay, we'll get to it.
I know what I want to talk about.
One second. So I thought, I think it's a little better than that, but again, it's for like a niche crowd. You gotta really go into it. So that's briefly, without giving away spoilers, that's briefly what that movie is.
Yeah.
I'm done with Akimbo.
I'm probably going to make more other videos about this, but it's just like, you just made me think of this. It's like, poor Rotten Tomatoes stuff, but it's really underappreciated. I remember, I saw a movie about that recently. Have you ever seen Immortal Kombat, Josh?
Immortal Kombat?
Immortal Kombat.
No.
Immortal Kombat came out in the 90s, right around Mortal Kombat was a thing in the arcades. It was original, but that wasn't its original title. Its original title was Resort to Kill. And it stars Rowdy Piper and Sonny Chiba. And they play... it's Rowdy Piper as a cop. and Sony Chiba as Samurai
I could already
Ninja.
see.
Yeah, no, dude. Okay, first of all, everybody who hasn't seen this movie, go fucking check it out right now. It has an abysmal Rotten Tomato score. Abysmal. And that's 100% bullshit, because it's actually really good. If you need to see, like, movies with Roddy Piper kicking ass and being wacky, if you loved him in They Live, and you haven't had enough in Mortal Kombat, you got Sonny Chiba being a badass, but the person that steals the show is the villain, called the Signature Killer, who is played by good old Malibu from American Gladiators, Darren McBee. Darren McBee, also known from the internet, from Dragon Strike, the D&D game with the full motion video in it, that Spoonie covered a long time ago. I showed you that. Also, he was in the Terror Tracks full motion video game, which Spoonie also covered. And he was... It's people think that basically what got him the role as Motaro in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which we never speak of, was because he was Motaro in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, was this role. He steals every scene he's in because he's like crazy and coked up and like covered in oil and just running around like showing off his awesome muscles and abs, just like he's like grunting like a gorilla, like killing people and breaking their necks. The first 5 minutes of the thing, he grabs a guy by the neck and it's like, I'll send you, like it's time you meet Buddha, I'll send you to him, and he breaks the dude's neck, it's like, yeah! And it's like, he's just insane and coked out and awesome, and it's just like, and he's badass in it. It's also got, it's got the Snake Woman from V, who was also in They Live. She was like the woman who worked at the television station that Roddy Piper briefly kidnaps, and then, she joins him, and you think everything's, and then she stabs them all in the back. Because that's what she plays villains. It's got the late great Tiny Leaster, or Zeus, from the WWF, who sadly passed away. I think he might have passed away of COVID. I think he had COVID and then he died shortly after. I think it's I don't know exactly, but I think he passed away past year, unfortunately. But he's in the movie and he's fun, and it's a fun sort of action buddy cop romance movie with a little bit of science fiction stuff. The actual premise is that a bunch of cops do a sting organization, and a couple cops get killed, and one of the people that did the killing is the Signature Killer, this notorious serial killer. And like Roddy Piper goes to track the Signature Killer down, and it takes him to this island where he meets up with this lady who he falls in love with, who's a reporter, and they go on this kind of like adventure in the jungle where they discover that there's this criminal organization on the island who is building super soldiers. They're making immortal super soldiers. So, like, the Signature Killer, Darren McGee's character, is immortal. He gets shot up. The only way to kill them is to decapitate them or set them on fire. Or possibly break their neck. They're not clear about that, but it's like neck damage. And it's actually, I think, it's stolen from, like, there's an ancient civilization that was on the island, and they're stealing some of the secrets of it in order to, like, make these super soldiers. So Roddy Piper and Sonny Chiba got to go in and resolve that. There's a couple of long spots where it gets a little bit slow. It turns out Sonny Chiba has a really tragic backstory, and involving his foster daughter, and they spend a lot of time to that, and so that might be considered a little slow. But I like it. I like it because it's nice. It gives the movie a chance to breathe and get to know where he's coming from. It's really good. It has a really shitty score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I want to change that. Immortal Kombat is an excellent movie. Go check it out. Watch it right now. It's great. It's fucking great. I did it, Josh. I did it. I had a topic. I covered it. I'm so proud. I can podcast.
Moving on.
Thank you.
Okay, so...
I feel like I'm just like a disembodied head that's floating around bothering you, and you're just like, the stress is building to go away. Go away, floating head. Ah!
Anyway. On Monday, Marvel Studios released what most people are calling a Phase 4 video over on Marvel Entertainment's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Alright? And I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't talked about that yet. Let's talk about that. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it. It's not very long, but it is really good for us, the people who love that stuff.
Yeah.
Come basically it's Marvel's way of saying, hey, get ready, because, July is coming, and that is when we can finally show you these movies. It's going to happen. One by hook or by crook, it's happening.
Yeah.
And
Scarlett Johansson's been locked inside of her apartment for an entire year. It's like, I want audience feedback, damn it.
So what's happening? But so it's that to remind you, hey, it's been a long time and all this stuff. But let's get back to this. They were really clever.
Getting from there to here. It's been a long time, but my time is finally near. I'll see my dream come alive at last. I will touch the sky, and I'm not gonna hold you down no more. Yeah, I'm not gonna change your mind. Enterprise.
What really happens in the video, though, is actually really touching. Mm-hmm. Pretty much they show a bunch of scenes from, phases 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. But while they're showing these scenes, they have a speech that Stan Lee had said, a recording whatever, and they intersplice it through the whole thing, and I'm just like, oh, Stan, and it gets you in the feels about what he's saying, about togetherness and everyone's hero kind of thing, and then when the Stan Lee portion is done, it leads us into a recorded live reaction of audiences watching Endgame for the first time. Mm-hmm. And particularly, it puts in the part where Cap is just standing there, tired, and he hears Cap on your left, and you start to see everyone coming in, they're deforming, and then he goes, Avengers, and the audience screaming, of course, Avengers, assemble, and just the reaction of everyone losing their mind over that.
Yeah.
From there,
when I watch that, I just turn into Christopher Eccleston's Doctor Who. It's like, everyone lives, Rose. Just this once, everybody lives.
Everybody lives. Yeah, no, I actually
my headcanon is he was part of that fight.
I mean, that took me back to, like, I was not in a very crowded theater. It was a matinee, and there was only a couple people, and that was fine.
Yeah.
But it was still that feeling of, oh my god, just the excitement. I mean, I lost it in the theater myself.
Not since the Fellowship seized Mordor, when things been so epic.
It was a thing that my brother and I growing up, we used to do this when we were kids with toys. Even before we even knew what Lord of the Rings was, we actually, one time, I think we made a story where we had like so many action figures just lined up on the floor, and it was just like two armies and just like, charging, and it was just like,
his brother still does this with HeroClix and tries to get me to play it, and I'm like, no, you're too good at the game. He wants to do. He tries to do that, but it's like, I know what's going to happen. First of all, you're not there, so like if you were there, it might make things more interesting. But it's going to be me, like his wife and the daughter, and so it's like, oh, I couldn't attack you, honey. I could attack you, and she's like, oh, whatever. And then meanwhile, like the daughter is going to look at me and say, hey, Uncle Eddie, you want to team up? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then like when we start losing, his daughter just throws me under the bus. And then just like I'm going home.
Well,
that's what a HeroClix game is at the Jonathan house.
Okay. Two things. One, you would do better with me.
Yes.
Number two, she would do better with me. Okay? Yeah. But just one major difference. She'd have to trust me. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the case, because she's young. But she'd have to trust me, because do you know, I can't remember if you were even there, but many years ago, it was him, Jose, and the other John. Yeah. Right? And I'm trying to remember if you were there.
HeroClix right now, the old school HeroClix.
Yeah, we're talking about a game called HeroClix. It still exists, but this is when it first started in the early 2000s. And we're over at my brother's apartment, and it was a long game. We played with like massive amounts of characters, but the idea was that those two, the John in question and Jose, were teamed up, and they were all about, we're going to win because we have the greatest characters, and we're going to cheat you and beat you and all this stuff. And amongst all of us, if you remember, I was not really considered that great. Mm-hmm. They used to beat me in the game all the time, and what happened was, I still don't think I'm that great a player, but most of the time I was not playing at 100%.
Right.
I was holding back. And so, when this looked really serious, and I'm teamed up with the other John, and I'm like, okay, I know you know I suck, but hear me out. If we're going to go down, we're going to go down swinging. We're going to make them fear us. But I need you to trust me. We need to actually make strategies and plans and things to get, which somehow eluded my opponents. Because they're just going, oh, I'm just going to, make an army go this way and blast the cannon and kill them, and then move this one, and we're going to win. They're going to scurry like cockroaches when you flicker the lights.
Yeah.
And that's not what happened. I would talk to him and tell him, okay, put these characters here, so when I hurt them, they gain a power-up, or I'm going to put them here. Every move I made benefited his moves, which then his moves benefited mine, and we just started killing them. And like I said, I don't know if you know the story, but Jesus Christ, they turned on each other so fast. Mm-hmm. Every time they were losing, Alliance, no more Alliance, I want Alliance with you. And it was like, no, we're not playing this game. You pick who you wanted.
You come down here, and we can pull together. You get your get your dream team because you actually know how to play, and I'll do what I always do is cheat and use either Mage Knight giant figures or my Call of Cthulhu from Horror Clicks, and it's like, all right, look, man, I'm just gonna back you up. Just tell me what to smash, and that's what we're doing. Cthulhu will smash. Your Superman and Batman will save the day.
But the reason it worked is because also it's not just listen to me. It's also I need to know exactly what character you have, what they can do, what's coming down the line. Like if, for example, if one of your large characters gets stronger in the next 2 turns from being hit from the damage, I need to know that because I will use that to my advantage. I will always use powers in that game that at the time, and I'm sure to this day that John doesn't appreciate or know how to use.
Yeah.
That's why he hated playing the games. When I started playing, like really seriously playing against my brother, he hated playing with me. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
You ever seen that?
A little bit. I don't know. He's been training. It's really annoying. It's really like no. I was like, let's have a nice fun game, and it was just like, and then he whips out like Kingdom Come Shazam and Thor, and like I'm already dead. It's like Magic the Gathering all over again. It's like I remember like one time in high school, like I sat down with some random person I'd never met before, like, hey, you want to play Magic? And like he hit me with like 3 lightning bolts like in the first turn, and like killed me. It's like, all right, well, thanks for wasting 5 minutes of my life. I'll never see you again, and I never did. It's like,
okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Does he use? I'm sorry, I'm ignoring everyone, but we'll get through this fast.
Yeah.
Does he use incapacitate?
I think he might. I'm not sure. I know he uses like outwitters. He uses outwitters.
No, it's not the same.
He uses outwitters and like invulnerabilities and stuff like that. I think he might use incapacitate.
Okay, no, that's okay. Does he use energy explosion?
He might.
Yes or no?
It's been a while. I'm kind of like the last game did not go very well, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay, so like I said, I'm cutting this short, but all I'm saying is, what you described is the way he was when I played with him well over 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? Probably 15 years by now. And all I'm saying is, if that's supposed to be him training, then he's going to die.
Okay.
Because he always, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like he lost every match. It's that he greatly underestimates me.
Yeah.
And he underestimates his abilities because he's too used to like, oh, here, I'm going to throw this Titan at you and this and all stuff. I was like, yeah, that's great. But when I put your Titan in a box by making that character push and immobilize and keep taking damage from stupid...
Okay, you know what? That's why the game sucked, because they didn't... Yeah, they wouldn't use them pushing and immobilized. They like house ruled we're not doing this anymore.
No.
And I was like, that's not the game. That's like, yeah, and like that's not the game. And it's just like, okay, so that renders like all the. No, I remember saying this at the beginning of the game. Okay, I remember Spider-Man's incapacitate like he's useless. It's like, no, we just want to hit it. Yeah, no, he sucks. Yeah, no. You know what? Motherfucker showed me the Ip Man 1 and 2. And it's like in Ip Man 2 when they're like, oh yeah, the British people are all like, oh no, you kung fu experts, you can't use your feet. You've just got to let us, our white British boxers wail on you with their fists and you're not allowed to kick anymore. And it's just like,
okay.
and Ip Man kicked his ass anyway, because it's just like, Ip Man's awesome. So.
Yeah, of course. But
it's that racist. It's not only cheating and wrong and why I lost, it's racist.
It's racist.
I knew it. I knew it going to that table I was going to a bad situation. I knew it.
Yeah, no, but that is because that's Return of House rules, and the reason why is because that is a main ability in the game.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not supposed to be an option.
Right.
Like options in house rules are supposed to be like how long we can play the game till.
Right.
Whether there's a clock or not, which there never really was. Because actual games are timed.
Yeah.
And actual games are
we gotta go home. We got shit to do. It's like
yeah, and other games also there's smaller points so they can make this so you can get through this.
Yeah.
With the game strategy. But what happens is yeah, it's all his advantage. And like I said, like see, you fall for this nonsense all the time. But like if I was playing, I'd be like, then no, I'm not playing with you. I would love to play this game.
I fall for this all the time, but I randomly just like that motherfucker.
You know, because you're good, because you're easygoing. And the thing is, don't get me wrong, I love being easygoing, but I know my brother, and I'll be there, and I'll be like, I would love to play this game.
Yeah.
But there's a few things that can happen. One, you can't just take the best characters.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have them anymore. I don't have those great god tier characters I used to have. I lost all my hero cards. I got nothing.
Yeah.
So I clearly will have to borrow whatever the hell he's using.
I've got
number two, if we're not using all the powers that are there already, then forget it.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm just not doing it. No.
Yeah. That's why I'm like I was just like I just didn't have the best time, so I'm just like I don't want to do this anymore. I'll hang out with you guys, but I'm like it's okay though, because I whooped his ass in video games. So it's like, because then he got that like his little Nintendo pirated loaded thing, and it was like we were playing like Street Fighter on the NES. How you're never supposed to play Street Fighter, but they had it, and I whooped his ass like a bunch of times with that on that. And then like we played like Contra like 4 or something like that, or like 7, Contra 5 I think, and it was like yeah, I was like.
Same thing.
We were competing. We were working cooperatively, but it was like I was doing better. We did that. We played Ninja Turtles 3 too, Hyperstone Heist, and we were like I was doing better than he did. So that's cool.
Yeah, because you're better at that.
Yeah.
You always were. It's annoying.
Yeah.
But the thing is, yeah. But if you beat me in a video game, I want you to beat me, fairly. I don't want it because you had added stuff to it or something. No cheat codes, none of that. Just play fair.
What if we were playing with cheat codes, but I let you use cheat codes too, Josh?
Yeah, but I don't. That's true. But I don't want that. The point is, as long as we're in an even playing field.
Capcom games, but you always have your power bar full, which means you can constantly use your super moves.
Okay, the point is, so long as it's on an even playing field where it still requires some skill to get out of this damn thing.
Okay.
Because someone has to win or lose, then it's fine. Alright, but I'll never forget playing. I can't remember which one it was. I know it was a Dragon Ball Budokai game. I can't remember if it was 1, 2, Tenkaichi, whatever. But I'll never forget beating you with Krillin. It was one of the happiest moments of my life. I think he was Goku or some. He was a Saiyan. And it's really funny, folks, because I had the worst luck, like beating this fool with like Goku, Super Saiyan 3 or Frieza.
Yeah. No,
this fool, he win. So I said, you know what, screw this. I'm going to beat you with Krillin. Yeah. And then he's you can't win with Krillin. Krillin's Krillin. And I win. And the best part is the response, because I was getting upset because I was losing so many times. Yeah. But he loses once to Krillin, and he loses his mind. I mean, all composure is gone. I had to kick him out of my room because he was about to break my fucking television. He's like, no, I will find him, Krillin, no. He was like, what the hell is happening here? This is real. This is not a dramatic reaction.
It was good times, though. Good times. It made me a better player, because then years later in the Navy, I was hanging out in Davis's room at Great Mistakes, and he had this Naruto game, and he beat me, like, once. And, like, I think I was playing, like, Naruto's mom, who's playable in the game. I don't know why. And then, like, every round after that, I think he beat me twice, and then I beat him, like, 20 times. It was, like, he beat me, like, once with, like, I think, full white Nine Tails, like, Naruto. But, like, I really, this is just like Budokai. And I just destroyed him, like, multiple times in a row. And he's like, this is bullshit. And it's like, have you ever played this game before? No, I've never played this game before. I was just like, you're lying. You have to play this game before. It's like, no. But it's
No, it was the benefit that the controls seemed to be similar to Budokai, that's why. Anyway, let me get back to this thing. We digress like hell. Yeah. So, after they show that scene of everyone reacting to Endgame, the idea was, let's get back to the movies.
Yeah.
So, from there on, they start showing clips and titles and release dates of films. Now, only 3 of them have any kind of footage. The first one was Black Widow.
Yeah.
Which is officially coming out July 9th of this year.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, which did have a teaser trailer a few weeks ago released, was Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings.
Right.
That is going to come out September 3rd of this year.
Nice.
And the third movie, that was announced. They had some clips. They haven't really done a teaser trailer or anything. So this is the only footage we have of this movie so far. Is Eternals, which is released on November 5th of 2021.
Right.
Now, from that point on, they just start showing you there's more. There's more. And so we get titles with dates.
Yeah.
And so the next one up is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Nice.
That comes out December 17th, 2021. So basically, Spider-Man is now a Christmas movie.
Nice.
I
need something to replace the Star Wars movies at this point. So it's like...
Yeah. But at this point...
We don't talk about the last Star Wars Christmas special we had. Rise of Odin.
No, but I do want to bring up something Christmas special related now that you said that.
I do feel like Mandalorian season 2 finale was like the saddest Christmas. It was one last Gorgru, and it's like you go off to Jedi school, Gorgru, and I love you.
He's growing up.
And then
so after
really
that,
good Christmas.
So after that, we're going to get Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness that comes out March 25th, 2022. We're going to get Thor: Love and Thunder.
Hold on.
Huh?
Prediction.
No,
not any speculation.
No, but I want to do that after I'm done listing these things.
Fine.
Because that's what I'm about to do is predictions and stuff too.
Okay.
And I want your input.
Okay.
So after Doctor Strange comes Thor: Love and Thunder on May 6th, 2022.
Okay.
Then comes Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. July 8th, 2022. That's official title.
Nice.
Then, the last one in 2022 is going to be The Marvels, November 11th. In 2023, we get Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania on February 17th.
Cool.
And then we get Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. Mm-hmm. They did show... there was one other logo they showed without a date, and that was the Fantastic Four logo. Because the Fantastic Four is in process. I honestly think
the title is "It's Gonna Be Good This Time, We Promise." We're sorry for 3 years of bullshit. We promise we're gonna make it good this time.
It's gonna be Fantastic Four. Trust us. You know, I'm actually kind of expecting some kind of title almost similar to Homecoming, though.
Yeah.
Where the title makes sense for the movie, but it also is kind of meta. Because that was what Homecoming... There is a Homecoming dance in that movie that he really goes into, but the real reason it's called is because the characters come home to its proper owners to really do that. That's why. So it's kind of like... I can picture something like that for Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Okay, just before we get into speculations, one last thing. there's no, like I said, no release date, but it is going to happen. I honestly think it'll probably happen either in 2023 or 2024, but more than likely it's going to be 2023. Mm-hmm. Another thing to note is that I kind of think it's almost, as a nerd, it's kind of like a good side effect.
Yeah.
COVID is that if you notice, this year and the next year are 4 Marvel movies.
Nice.
A year. And I'm not sure if that's official, but I do, because I think there was supposed to be a mandate. They were like, we're going to officially do 3 Marvel films a year, no less than 3. So now I'm thinking, because of what's happened, there'll probably still be somewhere between 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if they're going to really crank out 4 every year if they have to, on purpose, but now keep in mind,
or just like we have a surge of creativity because we've been locked up for a while. Like we really want to do this. Yeah. We really.
Not only that, but a lot of the first films that I mentioned have been done.
Yeah.
They've been done at this point. They were tweaking them. They had the chance now to go, oh, okay, let's fix this and let's fix, because we had the time. But they're basically done. So the other movies are now just actually catching up and so forth. And then you have a bunch of shows. Again, you have a lot of Disney Plus shows that are coming while these movies will be coming out in theaters. Yeah. Speaking of which, real quick, there was a trailer to Loki that popped up again to remind you when it's coming. It was actually a short video I saw today with Tom Hiddleston speak as the actor talking about, oh, you know what we need? Forget these guys. We need more Loki.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that Loki will be coming out June 9th, 2021, and that is a Wednesday. So instead of every Friday, it's going to be every Wednesday to go check out Loki.
Nice.
All right, so let's go back and talk about this. Let's see. How do you feel about Black Widow?
I'm ready for Black Widow. I'm very ready, and I was ready for it in 2020. I was like, oh man, I can't wait for this movie to come out, and then things just kind of a haze of misery and people using toilet paper and not wearing masks and death.
Do you know anything?
Trump,
anything?
And other.
I said, do you know?
What? Hi. What? Sorry, I went to a bad place. I went to the bad.
Yes, you did. Do you know anything about this movie?
It takes place. Is it the 5-year gap? No, it's not taking place in the 5-year gap. Is it it takes place sometime before the events of Endgame, and actually, and I guess Infinity War. But I don't. Other than that, I don't know too much about it. Because I was waiting expectantly. Like, hey, Marvel, wow me! I don't want to. I don't want spoilers.
So
it's cool. I can wait a month and then.
Okay, so do you want me to not talk about that then and just move on to the next thing?
What? No. What's going on? Sorry, I went back to the bad place. Bad place again.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying in other words,
Black Widow.
Do you want me to talk about like any characters or anything?
I mean, I'm excited. I think it's before the character dies in the comics. So, well, not in the comics. Before the character dies in Endgame.
In the movie.
Spoiler alert for Endgame. Anyway, it's and it was like I know like I think we were both pretty upset when Black Widow died in the movie. Is like I think this one over more than me probably because like to me I felt like her death was very perfect and tragic. We were both Hulk. We were both Hulk in different ways, just like throwing the bench. But at the same time it was like like I thought it was very beautiful and poignant. Well, this one's all like I wanted Hawkeye to die. Fuck him. Fuck Hawkeye. Fuck his happy ending. And it was just like, which reminded me of when I watched Gran Torino. I had the same reaction when Clint Eastwood's character died in that movie, and it was, and then this one comforted me. Was that you've gotten to know this character, you've gotten to know this friend, and you're upset, and it's just like that's all it boils down to. But I'm excited for Black Widow. I'm like I believe it's going to go into her past. We're going to see other like kind of Russian Marvel characters, including Red Star. Red Star's name? What's...
No.
These are characters he knows, I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm gonna know. Well, I was waiting to see what else you know, and I'll just talk about my point of view. And we move on.
There was some. Let's go back into the rabbit hole. The other dark points of my life in the rabbit hole of doom. I remember. I remember Jeremy Geeks and Gamers being all like. Well, it's more on the Love and you know what? We'll talk about that when we get to Love and Thunder. But there was someone complain. No, it was similar because it was another person in the rabbit hole with me. It was Andy, who I probably shouldn't talk about too much. It's a buddy of mine, but we were talking, and he kind of went, we both reacted poorly to Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and we got very upset and started watching Jeremy, and bad things happened. And but at the same time, I was telling him about new movies that came out, and he reached this weird point with Marvel where he's like I'm not gonna watch it. It was like he was like, I'm not gonna watch. Oh man, I'm not gonna watch Homecoming. And I'm like, dude, Homecoming was really good. I'm not gonna watch Black Panther. It's like Black Panther was really good, and it was just and then he started bitching about certain things that didn't matter too much. I remember talking about Captain Marvel, and was like, he was caught up in the whole Brie Larson is a terrible person who we should hate forever for one thing she said that was kind of stupid, and yeah, that kind of shit. And it was and then there was I think the biggest thing that was questionable was Endgame, and I think he saw Endgame, but he was like, I'm done after this, and was like, whatever. And we watched Infinity War and Endgame, and I think he's not made of stone. He enjoyed them, but he still complained about it, and he remembers talking about the scene where Captain America is doing the whole the support group for people that have lost people in the blip. And he's talking to people, and one of the dudes is gay, and he's talking about this guy that he met, and they went out to dinner, and they were both dealing with, the people that they lost, and they cried together. And he was, talking about some article that I'm sure Jeremy or Ethan Van Sciver or some other a-hole with no scruples brought up, where it's oh, the Coen brothers say this is the most important scene in the whole freaking movie. And he was very upset about that. And I'm like, why? It's a good scene. I wouldn't say it's the most important scene in the movie, but it's a good scene. And again, it kind of falls under this, you're just mad that there's a gay person in the scene. And it was and
what does this have to do with Black Widow?
This has to do, okay, thank you for helping me focus, sir.
Come on! You know this, come on!
Someone, I think it was him, was complaining about the Black Widow trailer that she didn't have any guns. She wasn't using guns, and Disney was doing no, or was it you? Okay, I brought this whole side topic on another person for no reason. Someone was talking about there's no guns in the Black Widow trailer. This was before COVID. This was before the Dark Times. Okay. And it was how can you have a Black Widow trailer and she doesn't use guns? And oh, it's Disney. There was some speculation. Oh, Disney's all white, gonna take the violence. Okay. How do you not have it? Someone was bitching about this, and I'm like, it's gonna be good. It's Black Widow. They haven't let the Marvel. Okay, Star Wars let me down, but Star Wars got better. And Marvel hasn't let me down yet, because I didn't watch Inhumans, and you did. So if anyone should be down on Marvel right now, it's this man right here. But he's optimistic, and if you're optimistic, it looks good. It looks good.
Okay.
It looks
all right,
good.
fine. Let me do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to get too much into it, yes, but what Dreadpirate is saying is true in that I was upset about Black Widow's death. I'm not going to rant about that, though, because I want to get into this stuff. But
okay.
It's not so much the death; it's also the fact that where this movie takes place. Yes, first of all, the movie itself does take place after Civil War.
Okay,
that's when it takes place. Okay, so this is right after. In fact, I believe there probably might even be a scene of her talking to Tony, because it's supposed to take place right after the last time we see her talking to Tony in that movie, and that's it. That's the last time we see her in the movie.
Yeah, that's
when we pick up with her, and. This movie does have her going to Russia. It does deal with the Red Room, which is the project that created the Black Widow in the comics.
Yeah.
So there's characters from her past in this. I don't really feel these are spoilers because there's been so many trailers and so much talk, and there's IMDb that has the names for these characters.
Yeah.
So you have Yelena Belova's in this. You have Red Guardian.
Red Guardian, thank you.
All right. You have, oh man, I'm drawing a blank. I want to say, is it Valentina Vostok?
There's
Something.
gonna be Zemo dancing for just no reason.
There's a there's a character who's played by Rachel Weisz, who in the comics is a villain of the Black Widows. Was part of the Red Room as well, but she was a kind of a dropout. I don't know what they're doing with here. It's possible she might be a villain. It's possible she might not. The character Taskmaster is in this movie. Okay. Taskmaster from right now is considered a major villain, and Taskmaster is supposed to be training women who are part of the Red Room, basically other Black Widows.
I think we both agree that Taskmaster is awesome. I think you were always a fan of Taskmaster, and I became a fan of Taskmaster through Deadpool, especially when I learned his true origin story. It's just like every. It doesn't matter how whether he's with the villains or the heroes, and he's just like, we had a good day today. We kicked a lot of ass. Oh, hold on, man, I got to make a phone call. Are you there? It's like, yeah, I'm not sure how I got here. And it's like, don't worry about it. Your next assignment is down the street, just at 4 p.m. Let's go pick it up. Okay. And he walks away, and it's his wife on the other end of the phone, and it's still supporting him. She's just his contact now forever. He doesn't even remember her. It's just like that's. It dude, it gets me. It gets me.
I don't.
He was a good guy the entire time.
Okay, now with Marvel, things are not always 100%. Right. Okay, so in other words, if they choose to change the identity of Taskmaster and his origin or whatever, fine. Yeah. Okay, so long as we get the basic idea of him. What's it called? William Hurt is going to be in this movie. He is playing General Ross again, or just Ross, I should say. And there is hints of the Super Soldier Serum in this, because I don't think we're going to get Red Hulk in the movie, but I think this is important because I think we will be getting Red Hulk soon.
I want little hints of Red Hulk. I want hints of Red Hulk.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of people running around.
John Hurt with that mustache, all red, just.
There's a lot of people who already, because this has been in hiatus for a long time, but so there's a lot of people who already have theories and rumors and all kinds of stuff about the things. And I've seen the trailers, and I've seen because the Red Room was Russia's their secret KGB thing, but it was also part of similar to what was happening with Winter Soldier, where they were like, oh, super soldiers and serum and blah blah blah. Yeah. And there's a scene where it looks like there's a clip where you see Natasha and Yelena Belova grabbing or trying to grab a bunch of red vials.
Yeah.
Of this liquid. So I was like, oh, is this the Russian version of that? And I did hear that Red Guardian in the comics is Russia's Captain America. All right. And he's got the cowl and a shield and everything, and so that's kind of what they're playing with in this one.
We talked about this last time, but Omega Red.
Yes, I was wondering if we might do. I don't know how much is going to be in this film. We'll see. Because the beauty of a good trailer is not showing everything. Right. Otherwise, there's no point in seeing the movie. But I'm playing on the fact that I think that this is leading to certain things, particularly super soldier stuff. I personally believe Omega Red will come from this. I definitely think if he exists, he'll be more important later.
I just want to mention the word of the name Arcady. That's all I need.
Yes,
that's all I need. Yeah. That's all I need to make me jizz my pants in the movie theater.
Imagine. Or imagine.
Sorry,
you see
the word Arcady, and just things happen.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff. Like I'm all for the hints and everything. I know that everything's supposed to get sprinkled and peppered around. It's not all going to be in this one movie. What's it called? But there's a reason why before COVID, that Black Widow was supposed to come out first, and of the Disney Plus shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come right after her, because they were supposed to have the same similar vibe, that same, Captain America movie spy vibe. I mean, they do, and so they would have things that would trade off and connect to each other. So I'm looking for when it's done for the connections, the after credit scene kind of stuff. That's interesting. It does look really good. It's like, yes, I can't look at any more footage of Black Widow because I'm just like, I need to see the movie. I'm done with this. Just give me the goddamn movie.
I'm excited about it. I'm looking to it. I don't have a whole lot to say, but it was like, I do. I think like I remember you complaining about this, and I kind of agree with this. Is that Part of what sucks about Black Widow dying in Endgame is it's like we know this is going to be in the past when it's just like I would kind of rather this would be just forward that Black Widow was still around and this was like a new story, but I mean it's a minor nitpick. It's just like okay, this is some cool thing she did like before Endgame. It's like cool. So and, like I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that part bothered me because I feel like we could have done this movie
right
in Phase 3.
Right.
Like my thing with Black Widow and Hawkeye is I personally believe that they deserve one movie apiece, and then you see what goes where. Like if the audience response to those movies is super high, then it's kind of like okay, fine, let's try to make another one.
Well,
but I do not believe in making a trilogy out of them or anything. Because there really is only so much you can do with those characters in terms of their villains and stuff are not the best. Sorry, guys. So like that's where my issue is. And then the funny thing is that the movie takes place in Phase 3. It does take place after Captain America: Civil War, and all I'm thinking is that's when we should have had this movie.
Yeah.
That's when we should have been released during those years. This movie. Because also the rest of the world would just assume that she was going to get a sequel after this, right?
Right.
That because they still could have just killed her in Endgame, even if she had her film.
Right.
Maybe that would have motivated not to, but they still could have.
Well.
Yeah. And for me, it's also it would have answered another thing that I don't want to spend too much time on right now, but I will later in this this podcast is. But it would have been the answer to the first female solo movie Marvel presented.
It's the one. I was like back because I reviewed this a while back. Back to the toxic politics of 2018 and 19. Even when I was down that rabbit hole, it's like one thing I always felt that like okay, all right, Brie Larson said something stupid. Shut up, people. But like since people were annoyed about that. Wouldn't it be better if we took a character that's a female superhero that's already established, that everybody loves, and give her her movie, and make a big deal about that, as opposed to Captain Marvel? Yeah. And again, I would argue Captain Marvel's not the greatest Marvel movie in the world, but it's also not the worst. It's not anywhere near as anybody has been been pissing and moaning about it. It's a decent science fiction action movie. My biggest problem with it has nothing to do with Brie Larson. It has nothing to do with like things that other people like Mueller have said or whatnot. It has to do with the fact that the Lightspeed engine hurts my brain on a scientific level. And it's like, why don't you just call it a warp drive? Just call it a warp drive, and I'll shut the fuck up. But Lightspeed doesn't work that way. And it's like, you made it, our super engine of the show is significantly slower than every form of travel aliens have used in the MCU thus far. Great. Great. Oh, yeah. Let's get this piece of crap that will, like, we gotta get away from the Skrulls. Okay, good. We're moving slower than all of them. They're already there when we get there. They're already there and have a fucking starbase ready to kill us when we come out of fucking Lightspeed. Fantastic.
Alright, we'll just talk about that later.
The movie's fine. So,
alright, we can bring that up again later because that is a topic here. The next one up is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I did want to talk about this one. Any thoughts before I tell you mine?
I am excited. Shang-Chi is one of those obscure characters that I really like. I want them to pull a Guardians on Shang-Chi and make him a household name because nobody knows who Shang-Chi is. And nobody knew who Rocket Raccoon was, except people that played Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And, don't give me that. Don't, shut the fuck up. People that were not comic book fans, casuals, like movie-going audiences did not know who Rocket Raccoon was.
No, I was going to say, it was like, no, but comic book fans definitely knew who he was because...
But now kids know who Rocket Raccoon is. Little kids know Rocket Raccoon and love Rocket Raccoon.
Yes.
And I want a Shang-Chi cartoon to come out of this. Like, I want people, like, to make him recognized by this. I'm also looking forward to a proper Mandarin, which we've never gotten. My one regret is that we never got proper Mandarin while Iron Man was still alive. And... Yes. Not to dump back into that cesspool, but I'm a little suspicious. Well, here's the thing. I'm a little suspicious that, like, we couldn't have Mandarin in Iron Man 3 proper, and because they were so worried about being politically incorrect or having a character that basically was a villain who was Chinese, who came out of the Cold War, and looks like a traditional, Fu Manchu type person, but has also been a major beloved Iron Man villain for years now, and is one of like the A-class villains of the Marvel Universe. We can't have Iron Man be his arch villain because we didn't want to be racially insensitive, and China was watching movies, and we didn't all this, that, and the other. But then it's suddenly okay. Well, after the backlash, so long as he's fighting an Asian man. So I don't know what that says. It's like, okay, so let me get this straight. We can't have the Mandarin when he's fighting a white guy, who's his actual villain, but we'll put him in the Shang-Chi movie. It's okay. It's okay to have an Asian bad guy so long as an Asian man is fighting him. And I'm like, whatever. Just give me a proper Mandarin, and it's just like, just make the movie good. I don't give a shit. I have a feeling it's going to be good, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, that's my 2 cents, which I stole from you, and I'm sorry. I'm just gonna duck out of frame right now because I shouldn't have done that. I'm just gonna.
All right. You can have my 2 cents.
Okay.
All right. 2 cents. We're having him at 10 cents. My 2 cents is free.
Okay. All right.
Here's the thing.
I need about $1.50.
My thoughts, really quick, because I could harp about this. But with Shang-Chi, I look forward to this as well. I saw the trailer. I thought it was cool. I know what we're going to get in this, and what we're going to get out of this movie is exactly what it needs to be. It's basically, we're going to have a fun action martial arts movie with a predominantly Chinese or Asian cast.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the introduction to this character.
Yeah, Marvel's never really done that. The closest is like the Daredevil TV show. In terms of really good martial arts. Like, I mean, their fights are good, but it's like, yeah.
We're talking like, that's the thing too, because like it's about you gotta remember what I think is fun about these movies separate is always this there's a different style going on.
Yeah.
So like with anything like Black Widow or Captain America, yeah, technically, and the Captain America is more superhero-y than Black Widow, but she's always been Black Ops, spy espionage. But they have that same realm of dealing with people in high places and low places, guns, Jason Bourne kind of action sequences, mixing in martial arts with actual, guns and hand-to-hand weapons and stuff. This one is going to be very much hand-to-hand, right? But it's a similar kind of vibe. It's a weird mix, if you will. It's like, okay, this is again a more human-based character, but it will be taking. I believe there are places it's going to take place in China, but it also will be taking place in California and stuff. It's an origin story, clearly. I don't have a problem with that, honestly. It's like it's just find new ways to tell the origin story. With Shang-Chi, look, as you mentioned, most people don't know who the hell he is.
Right.
It's the reason why people don't have that much excitement. They have some excitement because of Marvel's name.
Yeah.
And because, cool, Chinese guy, Kung Fu movies, I like Kung Fu movies.
Yeah.
We have never had an Asian protagonist in a Marvel movie yet, so cool. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. Most people just seeing
in terms of his obscurity, I remember he crossed over with the X-Men in the '90s, and that's how I learned about it. It was Shang-Chi's a character I know. Yeah. And
the thing is, since about I want to say 2011, he's had a huge boost.
Yeah.
Because in 2011 he was officially made an Avenger during Jonathan Hickman's epic run, and he's appeared multiple times in Spider-Man's comics, and this and that. He has his own. To this day, he has his own comic.
Yeah.
So they've leveled him up.
Yeah.
All right. He's cool. I like him. I have not read the recent comics, so I don't know what fun villains he may or may not have.
Yeah.
But this kind of worked out for them, because here's the thing: with the Mandarin situation, it was. I think the people working on this, because the people working on Iron Man 3 were not necessarily the same people working on Iron Man 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, oh yeah, we should probably pay off on that Mandarin thing, but we're not really jazzed about doing the Mandarin. And I think it has to do with Iron Man's villains were very real world, at least in the MCU. Like, building suits. It's like, again, yeah, the fact that you make it is kind of fantastical, but it's also semi-believable this technology could exist soon if it hasn't already in secret.
Right.
In private.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a tone. Whereas if you did the Mandarin proper, it would almost, some people would be thrown off by the fact that, because hell, we hadn't even really we just introduced aliens in the MCU at that point.
Yeah.
But when they were developing the script, it hadn't been released just yet, and it's not even the same aliens; it's a whole other alien race.
Right.
It's to explain the whole thing with the rings, and I guess somebody up there must have thought, maybe people are going to find this ridiculous, and it's going to be too off-brand for what we did with Iron Man 1 and 2.
Right.
That this may be a negative thing. Now, I do personally believe, and I know someone's going to target a red dot on my head when I say this, I do personally believe that because China does hold a lot of sway on how well your movie does these days, mm-hmm. that was probably another reason, too. On top of, like on one hand, it's like, oh, this character's kind of silly, I don't know if they're going to think we jumped the shark. Adding on to, because you had no confidence here, then you add on to the fact that it is going to go to China, and the Chinese villain, and if the Chinese villain's not handled well, what are you trying to say here, kind of. So maybe that might be part of it.
Which I don't, honestly, from what I've seen, the Chinese, at least the Chinese don't seem to care about things like that much. Like, everyone have to court them as, hey, look, China, we put Asian actors in. They're like, we don't care. Like they were like, just like, they weren't feeling Star Wars with the addition of Rose Tico. They were just, I think the real thing that, like, they're just like, make a movie. If they like anything, it's like Transformers. Yeah, robots
mm-hmm.
smashing each other, and we don't speak the language, so we really can't understand how annoying Michael Bay's characters are. And it's just like,
but that's the thing. It's like, I don't believe it's 100% true. I've heard it's like more of a rumor theory thing, but it's like it's just an idea.
The biggest problem is like is Ghosts, is like Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah, and I don't. It's funny because there's some people
doesn't want our spooky ghosts.
There's some people who thought that the Mandarin's origins involve him being some sort of alien space wizard.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the hell told him that one.
Yeah.
Because that's not the Mandarin at all. But here's the thing.
He's a character that's powers can be misinterpreted as magic, but it's not magic.
Yeah, but they're not. So here's the thing. Hold on.
Yeah.
So I think with the fact that the people who were writing the script in Iron Man 3 probably just at the end of the day didn't have that much confidence of doing a Mandarin that way, and came up with this idea.
Yeah.
With the bait and switch, and then connecting it to a storyline in Iron Man comic that was really successful, which is Extremis.
Yeah.
Kind of mixing the two ideas. But anyway, that being said, clearly they underestimated the fact that fans like myself were pissed because, like you said, the Mandarin is Iron Man's arch enemy, and the Mandarin is a upper echelon Marvel villain historically. And there are ways to tone down his silliness.
Yeah.
He was created in the 60s, and yes, there was some over-the-top nonsense with him, but he's been used so many times. He's been used so many times that they have updated him and made him less and less comical Chinese villain and more, he's gone from I will rule the world with a harem of women, round eye. Okay. He's gone from that nonsense to, I think, somewhere in the 80s, 90s to... there was a time he didn't even have a costume. He straight up just wore a suit. It looked straight up triad with the rings. It was just suit and bling. And I remember it was when he controlled Psylocke, and it was in Madripoor. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't just a Wolverine thing. Like, the X-Men comics have Madripoor.
Let's go back to Madripoor. Let's go back to Madripoor in this movie.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know if they're going to do that. I'm not saying they can't, because it's believable. Like, it's like, we could have a scene there, especially the idea that the Ten Rings is this terrorist organization that exists in different areas. Mm-hmm. It's all over the world. Right. And I'm like, I would have a hard time believing that the Ten Rings don't chill at Madripoor.
Right.
That you can be a member of the Ten Rings from somewhere else, go to Madripoor for asylum and be okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's dope.
Yeah, Sharon Carl.
But I'm saying that was a look for a while. I mean, when the whole story about how Psylocke, Betsy Braddock, goes from being a purple-haired British girl to being
A purple
Japanese. Yeah, is because of the Mandarin.
Yeah.
She was even called Lady Mandarin for it. So there's that. And then past that, there's been other interpretation where the Mandarin has actually moved the rings into different parts of his body.
Yeah.
Because, and this is important because I noticed this in the trailer, they're doing something like that. Mm-hmm. He's not wearing them on his hands.
Yeah.
Okay? In the comics, the reason Mandarin switched it from his hands in the comics was because he's fought Iron so many times, he was like, oh, he knows how to stop me. It's like, so long as he immobilizes my goddamn hands or fingers or some shit, somehow, he's gonna get me. So I decided he actually he took the rings off, and then he put the metal into, like, these discs.
Yeah. And
surgically put them into his spine. He replaced his surgical
now.
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is, it was really cool because the power, I guess, it worked even faster because it was organic more and this and that. And it's like, oh God, it did actually make him stronger. Mm-hmm. In the movie, I've noticed that the rings are more like bracelets on his arm. Yeah. He has 5 here, 5 there. Here's the thing, though. I am not. So I'm keeping my expectations here when it comes to his origin because they don't look like they're going to be Macklin. Like, I don't see different colors. I see one uniform color. I see different writing on them. And I'm not sure where they're going with this because for now, this is a guess based on the color, because the color is almost indigo purplish. And that kind of reminds me of Vibranium and Wakanda. So I'm kind of, or even Chitauri. So I'm wondering if it's a mix between Vibranium, Chitauri technology, because that shit's in the black market. You saw that with Spider-Man Far From Home and the Vulture and stuff.
Yeah.
That's got to be out there in the wings. So it's like, I can see like a mixture of it. Yeah. So I really believe it's alien technology. Now, really quickly though, the Mandarin was a good choice for them to use because not so much the Mandarin, but Shang-Chi's actual main villain, which is his dad, is problematic.
Okay.
So his dad in the comics was actually Fu Manchu.
The actual Fu Manchu.
At one point, no.
Wait. I need a history lesson. I need a history lesson. Where does Fu Manchu exactly come from? There's the Castle of Fu Manchu. Was he a comic book character before? Is Fu Manchu a canon immigrant?
Okay, Fu Manchu is a fictional character.
I know he's.
So hold your horses. But he's. Yeah, but that last sentence. Last sentence, you're like, is he a real immigrant? And I'm like, wait,
a canon immigrant. He started from one medium and became into another. That's what I.
Okay.
Damn it.
Okay, yeah.
X-Men 3 is a canon immigrant. She was in X-Men Evolution before she was in the real comic book character.
Well, no, I misunderstand. I know. What it is that Fu Manchu...
Last Angry Geek coined that. How dare you? Or like TV Tropes did. Someone did. Last Angry Geek mentioned it. You used to watch him all the time.
Yeah, but I stopped watching him a long time ago.
You and Kevin Costner and Brian Hines, you are such a monster. Go ahead.
Can I please...
everything I love.
Okay, hold on, let me focus.
Okay.
Now, Fu Manchu is originally from novels, right?
Alright.
And what happened with Fu Manchu is that Fu Manchu, over time, he existed in different, like, almost like Penny Dreadful's dime store kind of novels of Pulp Fiction or whatever.
Okay. Alright.
And that later bled into old, like, Golden Age of Comics kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The character fell into public domain.
Okay.
Alright? Pretty quickly. And so there was a Fu Manchu everywhere at one point.
Okay.
Like, everybody had a version of a Fu Manchu in comics and in movies and stuff.
Spoonie had a Fu Manchu.
And so, well, to the point they coined it that even the stash is called a Fu Manchu now. It's like, oh, you have a Fu Manchu. So at the time, Shang-Chi was created in the 70s. And he was, let's be honest, he was a response to Bruce Lee. He was a response to the influx of kung fu movies coming into America in the late 60s, early 70s and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. And so, we need to have that. It's the same thing like why Iron Fist was created for the exact same reason and why Luke Cage was created because of exploitation movies. But that being said, yeah, his dad was Fu Manchu. He was the head of this evil criminal organization. Something akin to what the Ten Rings is now.
Since Fu Manchu's in the public domain, every multiverse has a Fu Manchu.
Yes, but Fu Manchu, you won't really see him.
Okay.
Because of how, basically racist he is. I mean, the idea that the depiction of Fu Manchu, though, it's not just an Asian. It's not just a Chinese man. It's a very stereotypical, evil, wicked, sorcerer kind of Chinese man.
I'm more fascinated by this idea that every universe has a Fu Manchu, and that they're all canon to Fu Manchu. Josh, does our universe?
Dude, there's
Josh. Does our universe have a Fu Manchu? Is Fu Manchu canon to reality?
Yes.
Fu Manchu. Josh.
Hold on. Because he was a literary character first. There was a Fu Manchu that existed in the pages of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
In the movie's plot, he's the professor that actually helps make this, like, the big MacGuffin or whatever.
Yeah.
He's torturing people and stuff. But it's a typical. He has a long mustache, these nails that just never want to see a nail clipper, and that his skin is this yellowy thing. And over time, they would make him have buck teeth or pointy ears because that's evil Asians. They're just sorcerers. We don't know jack about what these people do. It's just magic. It's just heroin and magic.
How do they even get the fortune in the fortune cookie? How do they do it? How do they do it?
So that's kind of what it is. And even way before the concept of things being too it's not PC or whatever, Marvel decided to change this because they were like, even when they had him, they were trying to clean up the look of the character. But over time, I think they did lose the rights to him or something. It's kind of sketchy, like the rights would pass all over the place or something like that. And they decided, we're not going to even fight this whole thing. Who cares? We just need him. We just need his dad to be evil.
If Frederick Knudsen of Down the Rabbit Hole ever watches this podcast, Frederick Knudsen, please do a Down the Rabbit Hole on Fu Manchu. I want to hear a deep, hour-long lecture about the history of Fu Manchu right now. I really do.
Okay. All right, so
I demand a Fu Manchu video essay.
The point is that his dad essentially is like a racial ghoul type character.
Right.
Okay, minus the pit. And that his son is someone who rebelled. He was trained to be the next evil world leader kind of character, and he trained him to be like a living weapon. That's why, from a young boy, he's beaten the martial arts into him, and also to defend himself, whatever. And over time, he grows up resenting him, and he breaks away, and he joins MI6 or Interpol, some shit, and he fights him, essentially. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what happens in the comics, anyway. In the movie, you do see kind of elements of, the fact that his dad is like, I trained you to this, and I let you have like a year of just discover, a year or 3 or something like that, to discover yourself. So you see that he goes to America. He left him in America as a young man to just live. So Shang-Chi's got like a valet job, and he's got friends he goes to karaoke bars with and stuff like that. He's living his best life because he's trying to avoid the fact that sooner or later his dad's going to come a knocking, saying, okay, you need to come now and inherit the family business. This silliness needs to end. And that's pretty much what this movie looks like it's going to be. It's about it's pretty much about destiny. What is destiny? Do you make it? Is it something that's set in stone that you can't avoid it? And I'm fine with this. I'm cool with this. I do like the idea that since we're going to change the name and the look of our Fu Manchu, and we didn't properly bring the Mandarin in, I thought it was very smart to go, hey, you know what? Let's put him here instead. And let's pay off the fact that we should have not turned the Ten Rings into a joke, because we had set them up already in Iron Man's universe as a real terrorist organization. And if there is a real terrorist organization, they would not find it funny.
Right.
you using their name, and that's what bothered me when I saw the movie the first time. Before they started retconning it, I was like, but you had said that it's real. So in other words, you're telling me that the thing in Iron Man 1 was fake? That it blows holes in even Iron Man 1. Fuck Iron Man 3. So I was losing my mind when it first happened. I was like, don't do this. Don't Spider-Man 3, the Marvel Universe, no. It was like, I was freaking out. So they realized this and had to do damage control because of the 10 rings. Whether they like the Mandarin or not.
Iron Man and Spider-Man get along so well. They both love swing dancing.
Okay, so yeah, no, like I said, I'm kind of excited for this. It's going to be fun. Martial arts.
I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to Marvel straight up a martial arts movie. I'm down for that.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, I see a lot. I was looking. The scenes I saw looked really, really freaking good. I do like that with characters like Shang-Chi, you can drag in the dregs of the Marvel Universe that nobody knows but me. Like, and when I say this name, I'm not trying to trigger you. But he is in this movie. The villain from the comics is in the movie. The name is Razor Fist. Razor Fist is in the movie.
I'm triggered.
So yes, Razor Fist is in the movie.
Fucking speed. Oh, Razor Fist, I can't watch you anymore.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the comic book Razor Fist, though. Yeah, I'm definitely down for
it. The only way I knew it was him, because he's not wearing his mask or anything, it's just the arms. Right. The blade. I was like, oh, he has blades for hand. Okay, yeah, we're done. Yeah. Next, Eternals. Anything?
The most I can gather from is Thanos, the movie. That's from the hype I've heard, which is like it's possible we'll see like a young Thanos and like a Thanos origin story. This is a team I don't know a whole lot about, but it's a species I know a little bit about because I remember Cersei. I remember these obscure Avengers heroes that nobody remembers that are just kind of like, what's your deal? I'm an Eternal. What's that thing? Read old Avengers comics. It's like, okay. And we're like alien god things and stuff. It's like, oh, cool. And same thing as Shang-Chi. It's like I want turn these characters into household names, like get this like stuff out there. I think it'll be kind of a neat. It's kind of it would be a neat retro story, like a story like in the past, kind of fleshing certain things more out. But I think we're supposed to get it's going to be laying down the groundwork for the stuff we're going to be seeing going forward. That's what I know.
So a lot of people have videos about this now, like who are the Eternals and all that kind of stuff. Because again, this movie
the Eternals are explained. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about other things. There's other people that talk about the history. There's a lot of people talk about the history of the character to get you to know who they are, and so I'm not going to go too into it myself because it's a long story. But all we need to know is that the Eternals was created by Jack Kirby,
right,
in the comics, and essentially they are a sub-race of humanoids that were experimented on by the Celestials. And so we will be seeing them in this.
Right.
We're going to talk more about the Celestials. The Celestials essentially made two other categories of Homo sapien, if you will. You have the Eternals, and then you have the Deviants. And the Eternals and the Deviants in the Marvel Comics are supposed to be what explains like the history of demons, angels, mythological monsters and gods and stuff. So like the Eternals and the Deviants, usually a lot of them
mythological monsters running around too, and then Thor shows up. It's like, that fucks that sheer theory up.
It does. It really does because
you bet it does, buddy.
Well, it's funny because the Eternals were first introduced in Thor comics when Jack Kirby was still doing Thor, and so there was a crossover about there's even a storyline called the Eternal Saga, which I actually know about but haven't read. Yeah. It's an old classic one, and when you hear the names of the characters, it's meant to be based off things from different mythology. Like, again, you mentioned Cersei, but another character is named Icarus. Yeah. Another character is was named Ajax. Another one is named Gilgamesh, and stuff like that.
Is brother going to be in this? Is Star Fox going to be in the movie? Eros?
I don't know. And it looked the real name to Star Fox was Eros. That's another one.
God of Love.
But yeah, so like, I don't know. To be honest with you, here's the thing. I did hear rumors. There's barely any footage released of this film. And what we do see, they're mostly in, like, regular human plain clothes. The thing with the Eternals is that this movie is going to be taken from lots of different sources. A good chunk of it will be taken from an Eternals miniseries that Neil Gaiman wrote, which I did read, and it's fan-freaking-tastic. And it's probably the reason I have the biggest buzz for this, because the deal with the Eternals comic that he wrote, that miniseries, was to reintroduce them into modern Marvel Comics reading. It's been a long time since we've seen them. They had this whole plot where the Eternals kind of like, something happened to them where they forgot who they were.
Okay.
And they started living regular lives and having normal jobs, not knowing they have powers, not knowing that they're ageless. They don't really age. Yeah. And they're hard to kill and everything. And somehow they start being awakened. Mm-hmm. And the reason they start to have dreams and start awakening is because the celestial host is coming.
All right.
And so I think that's where they're going to go with this, but there's going to be a lot of flashbacks in this movie. Feige basically said that this movie will be taking place all over the place. While there is a modern setting, they will be showing them in, like 1000 BC. They're going to show them during Arthurian times. They're going to show them during all the different time periods throughout the Marvel Universe. And I've mentioned that King Arthur thing because we will be introduced to Dane Whitman, the Black Knight.
Nice.
Who was an Avenger. Mm-hmm. This version of it, though, is not because Dane Whitman was a contemporary person who was a descendant of the original Black Knight that actually was with King Arthur and fought Knight's Round Table, all that kind of stuff and everything. He comes from that bloodline and he inherits the title and the weapon of the Black Knight. Yeah. This version, no. This Dane Whitman is from that time period, and that somehow he's going to come from the past to the present. He is played by I forgot the actor's name, but essentially it's Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. And when I heard that
Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
When John, yeah, so it made me laugh because I looked at character designs and I'm like, oh, so Jon Snow is playing the Black Knight, is he? Was it hard to cast that one? They were like, pretty much that was the only person they wanted. Oh, Kit Harington, that's his name. So when Kit Harington was offered a job, he was like, yeah, sure. I'm used to wearing that kind of clothing. In the comics too, the Black Knight is the lover of the character Cersei, right, of the Eternals. So there's that connection there too. I'm trying to remember it looks interesting. They have done this thing where, because let's be honest, the Eternals are obscure, so most people won't care. Yeah. But yes, part of the controversy, if you want to call it that, is that some of the characters are replaced with there's one character that's black now who wasn't black, and another character that's a woman now that wasn't a...
I can hear Jeremy and Ethan complaining as we speak.
There's
fuck?
Yeah, it's one of those things where they cast females in roles that were men or different ethnicities and stuff. One of them is actually...
I want to talk more about this when Thor Love and Thunder comes up. But let me just say right now, I don't care. Fine, yeah. Great.
Okay. Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
I just fuck them.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things too. Because I was just like, how do I feel? Because I have been on the side of the fence where if this is the first movie or first introduction to certain characters,
yeah,
I want to see them the way I remember them in the comics. But with the Eternals, it's the Eternals.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's like, if it's good enough, I don't give a shit. Good example.
No, no,
Doctor Strange.
Good enough.
Doctor Strange. Part of me wants an old Chinese man playing the Ancient One, because the Ancient One in the comics is an old Chinese guy. It's like part of me wants that accurate version of it. But Tilda Swinton is so fucking good, I don't give a shit. Tilda Swinton... No, I will knife fight you. I will knife fight you over this. Tilda Swinton is so good as the Ancient One, I'm fine with her. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's not why I'm making that face. But we'll get to that with Doctor Strange real quick. Yeah. But the point is...
Not everyone can have Sony do a Spider-Man trilogy where you have an old Aunt May and a redheaded Mary Jane, so we can make a hot Aunt May and a black Mary Jane when it comes back to the end. We can't always do that, Josh. We can't always do that. It took, how many years it took to get Spider-Man back? Do you want to do that? Do we want to go there? Do we need Eternals Homecoming? No. No, we don't.
No, it's a different argument. Anyway, the point is, why cast the characters like they play? Because
Gender Swat 8? I don't give a fuck. Go ahead. Who gives a rat's ass?
So with lesser-known characters, I really don't think there's not much of a fight to it.
Jeremy made this huge fucking thing complaining about Liette Kynes in the new Dune movie being a chick. And it's like, first of all... Thank you.
No, what? I don't even know what you said.
Okay, Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers was complaining about how Liette Kynes from Dune in the new Dune movie is going to be a chick now. And it's like, he was bitching and moaning about that. And it's like...
Dune! Oh, okay. Jesus.
Liette Kynes has two roles in Dune. He's the guy that made the still suit, I Am a Desert Creature, and he's Chani's dad. Okay. So they made Chani's dad Chani's mom. Who cares?
Okay.
That's it. That's like all... On top of that, Frank Herbert, if he were alive today, would be totally down for that. Because you know what Dune is? Political. And he was very liberal. He'd be totally down for it, so fuck Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers. Yeah. So there we go. And who gives a rat's ass? Who gives a rat's ass? I'm just
bringing up, but I'm bringing up my personal feelings on that.
Yeah.
Because...
Cersei's a king! I don't care.
No, because I have been on the side of don't change them. That's not necessary. Blah blah blah.
So at this point, I'm like, I'm done. I'm like,
with the Eternals.
You know, they might make Captain Kirk gay in a new Star. I don't care if you know anything about Star Trek. You know, Gene Roddenberry would be foaming at the mouth. Of no. You know that if you know anything about Star Trek, you know, like Gene Roddenberry went on record stating, if I could have made Kirk and Spock gay, I would have. So, who cares? It's like, it's Word of God. It's Word of God. And I've seen the original Star Trek. Those two men totally are gay for each other. They may not be sucking each other's dicks, but they love each other. They love each other very much.
That time period would never allow such a thing. Right. And here's the thing. I've watched the original series. I've watched the movies. I've followed Kirk through all kinds of other fiction. And the closest I've seen of a Captain Kirk that fits that let's make him gay thing was what was his goddamn it? Help me, from Doctor Who, Captain Jack Harkness.
Captain Jack is gay. Captain Jack's bi. He's not gay. He's bi.
He's bi. I think I almost thought he was pansexual.
John Barrymore's gay.
John Barrymore's is gay, but I'm saying I think the character's more pansexual than just bi. I think he'll fuck anything.
He will.
Like.
I met him at a convention. He's so awesome. He's so cool, dude.
So, like...
Didn't you meet him? You met him at a convention, too, didn't you?
What?
Did you meet John Barrymore at a convention? I met him at Pensacon. Yeah, he's so cool, right?
Oh, he's awesome.
He's so nice.
No, I met him when he was still on Arrow playing Merlin.
He was Merlin, yeah.
And I got a picture of him signed. But the point is, I'm saying that's kind of where the inspiration was. It's like it's basically Captain Kirk just go around just doing adventures and sleeping with anything. And I was like, if they could have done that, we all know that the character banged everything. But as far as the show is concerned, he just made out with everything. But that's because that's all you could do. It was implication. We all knew that that's what that's supposed to mean. When it goes to commercial, they're not just making out anymore.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and that's always been a thing in Star Trek. They can never go too far on television.
When he was in the Mirror Universe and he was with the Captain's Woman, he activated her Tatless field, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
He definitely activated that Tatless field. Okay.
So what I'm getting.
Furthermore. Okay, look. No, we're not done. The old joke.
No, because I want to pass Eternals.
No, but I have one more joke for the audience. Okay, so like we're very good friends, and so all our friends call us gay, and so we established that basically we're there's two, like we're Roman gay. We're dignified gay. It's like, aha, yes, we're gay. Yes, but we have a wife.
I thought didn't we settle on Hobbit gay?
Hobbit gay is like Frodo and Sam. It's just like, I love you, Sam. It's like we're somewhere in between that. Kirk and Spock were Roman gay. They were very Roman gay. They were the most Roman gay of Roman gay.
Yes.
It's just like, yes, Emperor Fabulous, and my son Fabulous II. Biggest dick.
Okay.
Aha!
So, moving on. Like, again, I was just trying to say that with the Eternals...
Eternals!
It doesn't bother me because it's extremely obscure characters, and they've already established that what was considered history and mythology to people in the Marvel Universe isn't exactly fact.
Yeah.
Like, the Asgardians, they're actually a mixed group of people. That Heimdall is black, and Hogan the Grim was an Asian person, or at least looks that way, even though he comes from another planet. And so, it's like, the myths changed.
Right.
In the Marvel Universe, the myths changed how these people look like, and if they're male or whatever.
Right.
Because it was the people hitting history. So it's like, okay, they've already established this, so I was like, okay, the sky's the limit, I'm cool with this, I don't really care. I get it. When you go, the truth is, part of the reason why you make it diverse is because most of comic history it's a sausage fest. If we're going by the origins of a lot of it, it's a lot of just dudes.
Yeah.
And most of them are white, if you go back further enough. So it's like, it gets boring after a while.
Right.
To me, it's kind of the reason why the books don't necessarily sell as much, because they're just banking on, look, it's a character you recognize. But what's his personality like?
Right.
I don't know. And so, that's why it fails. So long as you give them personalities, I don't care. Angelina Jolie's in the movie. I forgot about that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's a member.
I feel like we just made that an afterthought. You
know why it's an afterthought? For me, it's an afterthought because they kind of this image that they show in this video on YouTube shows her one time like moving a sword or whatever, but they don't really give her a great shot of going, yeah, dude, Angelina Jolie's in this movie. They're not really, in a way, by announcing her, people are like, ooh, Angelina's in this movie, but at the same time, they're not making a huge deal. She's a big character in the group, but she's not the lead. She's like the second or third or somewhere in there. And either way, I don't really think the movie's going to be about her specifically.
I think we should throw her under the bus because I still haven't forgiven her for the Maleficent movies. So we'll just. I'm still triggered about that. But cool. I didn't know she was in the movie, so that's cool to me.
Well, no, she is.
Yeah.
So the next movie coming up now. These don't have any clips or scenes to them as of yet. They have, stolen footage of when people on set, that kind of thing. But they don't have anything else. The next one, but this one is coming this year, and that's Spider-Man: No Way Home. Thoughts?
I'm excited because that cliffhanger from Spider-Man Spider-Man Summer Break. Far From Home. Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home. I really like Far From Home, even though I forgot its name because I'm dumb. I really liked Spider-Man Far From Home. I really liked Mysterio. I loved. I'm spacing on his name. Jake Gyllenhaal. No. What's his name?
It is.
Is it Jake Gyllenhaal?
It's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I keep getting him confused with the other guy that was in the new Blade Runner. Yeah, he was in Are You Afraid of the Dark in his first role as a kid.
You're talking about Ryan Gosling. For
Ryan
Gosling.
Thank you. Why do I confuse the two of them?
Yeah.
Whatever. So
the point is, yes, from the cliffhanger in that movie, you're excited about what this movie is going to be about.
Yeah, no, Jake Gyllenhaal was really good, and he was basically playing his character from Nightcrawler, but as Mysterio, and he was just really good. Mm-hmm. It's like I would add that to the list of, Marvel villains aren't memorable. Fuck you, Mysterio. Mysterio was really good. Mysterio was really Susio. He was really just, he played it he was a master manipulator as he's supposed to be. I thought he was excellent. And I'm eager to see how Spider-Man deals with the fallout of that. I also want some more J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. I'm looking forward to that too. So I don't really know any details about it, but I've loved everything with Tom Holland Spider-Man so far, so I'm down.
For me, I'm super excited, but I kind of want some things to be not rumor. I do know there's confirmation of certain things, but I kind of want something solid for now, because I feel jerked around with the information I have on this movie. This movie I know this movie is supposed to deal with the fact that, the world knows his identity and sees him as a murderer.
Yeah.
I think there's supposed to be trial stuff in this.
Yeah.
Which has led to of Daredevil appearing in this film.
Okay.
It's not been confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil officially being in this movie. Although I'm actually starting to hear more confirmation that Daredevil will appear or at least Matt Murdock will appear in the Disney Plus She-Hulk series, because lawyers. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I see what you did there. Okay. But what's it called? What has been confirmed though is Alfred Molina is coming back as Dr. Octopus.
Fuck yeah!
It is confirmed that Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro.
Oh.
And
you
so
pulled me up and then sucked me and then pulled me right back down again, Josh.
So what has been confirmed is that these two are playing their characters from their respective franchises, which is where we begin with the idea going, oh, so we're doing the multiverse in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Now they have not confirmed. Now at this moment in time, they have not confirmed nor denied.
This also retroactively makes all those movies MCU movies now.
Yeah, but hold on, it does. But hold on. They have yet to confirm or deny the inclusion of Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. I personally think they're coming. Because if you are,
I'd like to see Tobey Maguire and especially Kirsten Dunst, because I think Kirsten Dunst also like Kirsten Dunst was made a bit of a huff a couple years back about the newer movies coming out, and it felt like it felt like backlash from some of the criticism of those Spider-Man movies, and also or maybe just a feeling of not being included. And it's like, me personally, as someone who loves all three of the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, including Spider-Man 3, dancing and all. Well, maybe not the dancing, but I'd be happy to see them again. I'd be really happy to see Tobey Maguire again. I'd be really happy to see Kirsten Dunst again. I know you really want to see Andrew Garfield again, because you really want to blow that man and just yeah, you do. You're all like, oh, he got a raw deal. You're burp. I think he's just fine in other roles. I don't like him as Spider-Man, but sure, fine. It's like once we go open the multiverse door and this is an alternate reality. Oh, you're an alternate reality, so it's okay if your universe sucks. So I'm not feeling your interpretation of Spider-Man, but you're an alternate reality. That's fine. I'm good. I'm like,
okay, stop. Just stop. Here's the thing. First off, I loved the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. Okay, and I really did like Tobey. The thing is,
Andrew Garfield.
I didn't love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I liked him more than Tobey because here's the thing. Because he was giving me something that I was really missing from my Spider-Man.
Yes.
Which is the wisecracking jokester that was confident when he was wearing a costume.
Which were terrible.
No, he wasn't. He was good. That's the problem. Most people agree upon the fact that he was good at that. Tobey was terrible at that. Okay? What Tobey was good at was being the nerd and being the very sensitive person that we liked, and Andrew necessarily wasn't.
Yeah.
The nerd parts, when he's like the geeky outcast before his bit, it didn't work because he didn't have the look. For one thing, he looked too good. The hair was already stylized to begin with, and it was like, no nerd is styled. No, well, actually, no. I stand corrected. You were that nerd, because this guy in high school put 10 pounds of goddamn hair product in his head all the time still.
That's why I identify with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and you and everyone else are wrong. You're just wrong. You and Steven, like our friend Steven, also, who I put on the show, but he'd talk endlessly about Power Rangers. So I don't know if I should do that, but I'm thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, no, he's not a good Peter. Whatever. You know what? Toby had the heart of Peter Parker. He was a good kid.
No, because
he was a good kid.
No.
He's my favorite. Your precious Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is like, oh, but he's funny by being a raging dickhole. You know what? You know what's the best character in that franchise? Dennis Leary. Dennis Leary's disapproving ghost cop dad. You know, it's just like, I thought that was funny, kid? Really?
Okay, first off,
I'm gonna smoke it to make you feel guilty.
First off, he wasn't a ghost until the second film, and the second film was a hot mess. But there's the thing is, because
really, you're gonna make fun of the greatest character in cinema history. Really, you're gonna do that?
What I'm trying to say though is that
I disapprove of you.
I'm trying to state for the fact though that I did not like those two Spider-Man movies more than the Sam Raimi ones. Okay, what happens here? No, hold on. Let's call how it is. The truth is, you wouldn't give this guy a chance at all. You held on to those fucking movies so sacred. Because here's the thing, Dread over here.
Because fuck your movies.
No, hold on. Because you don't believe, because as much as he's like, oh, other universes, and all, no, bullshit. He doesn't care for the multiverse. What he cares about is everything living in one giant buffet of nonsense. Even if it makes
I have no recollection of the statements and questions.
Constantly, we would have arguments over it's in canon, John. Everything is canon. Even a Spider-Man.
It should be.
Spider-Man. No. Because the way your logic is,
the way your logic live-action show back in the 70s is in canon.
No. The way your logic works, Peter Parker at one point stopped being white, turned black, called himself Miles Morales, was Spider-Man for a while, split into two people, got white again.
What's wrong with this theory, sir?
It's ridiculous.
Listen. He was Mark Summers always in the first place, which is the best Spider-Man show. Fuck you.
Oh, that one. Okay, I was trying to figure out what he's talking about.
That's a deep cut.
I watched something online, like really analyzing and explaining that show, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's kind of cool because I do remember it existing. I do remember seeing tapes in the video store.
I love that show. It's very 70s cop show, but with Spider-Man. Yeah. But I love it. But
I think what needs to happen is that Spider-Man needs to cross over with Spider-Man, the Japanese one.
Fuck yeah. Definitely.
So Spider-Man. That's how it sounds. It's pronounced Spider-Man.
Here's the thing: in that show, he had like a sidekick who was a secretary at the Daily Bugle who was a black woman, and they had really good chemistry with each other. And I was like, I want them to like get together, but of course it was the 70s, so no. And it was like, but I was like, man, they're. Yeah, I don't need a Mary. Like, I think Mary Jane was in the show, but it's like I don't need Mary Jane. I like.
Yeah, she really wasn't in the show, and I forget who the character you're talking about was.
Yeah.
Because it's like
her look kind of reminds me of what they were doing with Captain Marvel in WandaVision with Monica Rambeau. It was like she had dressed the same way, the same 70s look.
The character, it's funny because they don't give her the name. They could have.
Yeah.
Because there's a character in the comics, Glory Grant, who is black, who does work for J. Jonah Jameson. She's in the Bugle and everything. Like Betty Brant was the first secretary and whatever, but she moves on and then Glory comes out. And there was I don't know if there was chemistry, but it was more like friendship or whatever.
Right.
With Glory. But it's funny because the character was already created in the comics by the time they were making that show, so it's kind of funny why they didn't go with that. They just went with an original character, but it was there. Like, her personality is practically the same.
Right.
But anyway, back to this thing. So, what I'm trying to say is that I'm pretty sure this is where the multiverse is going to really start to get explored.
Right.
Originally, Doc Strange was supposed to be before this. Now this movie will be coming out before Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. In fact, right before, because Doctor Strange is next. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. So I don't know what they're doing, how they're going to do this, what's the main plot because I worry. I'm going to be honest. When I first heard about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I was really worried about them making that movie work.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, instead of just focusing on Miles, they're going to throw everybody in this. And because this movie was more Sony run than Marvel Studios run, I was like, I don't know if they can balance the juggling act.
Yeah.
However, the people who were working on the project were very good. And they found the perfect balance of this. And so, like, for live action purposes, I'm hoping that kind of happens again. I hope that in some way, I don't want it to copy, but I do in some way they can balance this mixture of different Spider-Man. I really want to see that. I would love to see Tom Holland interact with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, interacting with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and also playing catch-up, because I think it'd be really cool is if they play with the... I mean, this is what I want to see. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to see... We don't just see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but we see them where they are now.
Yeah.
And their stories have continued. There was a Spider-Man 4 and a 5 we never got to see. There was an amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 we never got to see. So that we don't have to question why they're their age. It's like, it's perfect. It's like we get to see these older Spider-Men, because they'll be older than Holland Spider-Man, flat, straight up, and wonder what adventures they've been and what they'd be like. Like, for example, will Tobey Maguire have gained his optimism back? Because his storyline, they ended kind of somber with Harry dying.
Yeah.
Or is there more tragedy as he keeps going? This is going to be a jaded Spider-Man.
Right.
As a result. Same thing with Andrew Garfield. What happened with him and so forth. It's like, it's kind of interesting. But there's some weird shenanigans with the idea of how... Okay, so where are Doc Ock and Electro coming from exactly? Are they being scooped up from where they... Because rumor has it that they're being taken up from where they last left off, as if Dr. Octopus actually didn't die. Like, he did the thing to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
But somehow he gets scooped up before he dies?
Yeah.
And no one checked the body?
Yeah, and he washed up ashore somewhere.
So this is going to be interesting.
How Electro dies in Spider-Man 2, because my eyes glaze over when I watch that movie. So
I don't remember him dying in that movie. I remember him being defeated, because you got to remember the intention of that hot mess was to make a Sinister Six movie. Right.
Yeah.
So you can't do that if you're killing Electro. Electro was meant to be a member of that. So it's like, I could see that, but I'm curious. There's still a lot of rumor to it and stuff. Like, for example, I do know that they're there, but I've seen images where the looks might even change a little bit, and I'm kind of like, okay. There's something. There's a picture going around of the Jamie Foxx Electro, but he's not blue anymore. Where it's the same skin, like the veins and everything, but they made it yellow and with a green outfit, so that it matches Electro's colors of green and yellow.
I don't want another blue character in a Marvel movie again. They're just like, oh no, oh no.
And it's like, so I'm wondering about that, if that's true or that's just Photoshop. But I'm not really sure, because there's a lot. Because I remember this movie originally was going to be about Spider-Man on trial, and I remember that it was most likely going to introduce the character Kraven to hunt him down from justice and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's in this movie? What's not? I don't know. I am excited, but I am also like lost with this film at the moment. I'm like, oh, I don't know what's happening in this movie. Yeah. Speaking of I don't know, and that's going to happen for most of these, let's go to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
I'm very excited for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. My speculation, what I want in this movie, I want Cthulhu-y things. I want lots of mindless ones and more Dormammu. I want Shumagorath. I want just giant Cthulhu monsters. I want Cthon. I want maybe Despair, the character Despair, to show up. And you know what I really want to do? If we're going into the multiverse and we're seeing the multiverse, I want Marvel Zombies. I want just like a 5 to 7 minute point where a bunch of characters wander in there and then have to get out real fast. That's what I want. And I'm looking forward to them doing like a straight up horror movie. And the more I'm thinking about it, I was just thinking about it like knowing we were coming up to it. I think probably the way to go about it would be like psychological. like kind of like start like early WandaVision, where it's like there's something off in all these worlds, but like we don't know exactly what, and that's what's going on, and you have to kind of figure it out as you're going along. Like, okay, for example, like I think like for my money, one of the most horrific images in WandaVision, which I really liked, was the beehive guy coming up out of the sewers. It was just like this weird a guy covered in bees in a beehive outfit comes up out of the sewers, and it's like oh god, it's like some kind of monster, and it was just like, and then it turns out no, it was just a shield sword guy that they sent in a hazmat suit, and yeah, he went through, and so it turned into a beekeeper. It's just like, you know, it's a very mundane explanation. I would kind of like something like that, but like it's like no, it's something that should not be. It's like, don't look underneath the beehive mask. You don't want to see what's underneath there. It's like, it's all quivering eyes and mouths. I'm really looking forward to Doctor Strange. That's one of the titles I'm probably more excited about than anything else. So.
For me,
I also want like glimpses of other things, like maybe X-Men and other things we haven't seen yet, and like more. If I didn't know, like we were getting like Spider-Man 2, Dr. Octopus. I didn't know this was that. And you know what? I will take J.D. Fox Electro if it means getting Spider-Man 2, Dr. Octopus. I'm not crazy about that film, but it's like you know what? I'll take the bad if I get the good. You know, like we'll do it.
No, but that's how I felt about that too. Not to cut you off, but it's the same thing. Like it's like. I don't need the Amazing Spider-Man characters at all, but
I need to
but I would really appreciate them because if we're getting the Sam Raimi ones, I was like because this is the opportunity to do something just like Into the Spider-Verse, but it's live action,
right?
You know. Yeah. Well, I don't know about the actor who played him in television, if he's still around, or if he's not. I don't know if he's dead or not, honestly, no offense, but I know Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are still healthy and able to do this kind of stuff. And that would be dope. Where, to the point where we don't have to resort to animation to make it happen. Because if we do animation, that would be cool, but I really want to see it in live action first.
Yeah. Or
at least once. And so, because I'm mentioning that because there was rumor about Spider-Man to Spider-Verse 2, which is happening, but nice. I'll have to look into the dope on that because it's not Marvel Studios, it's Sony. But people were wondering if they were going to do that in animation. Would Miles end up meeting Tom Holland, Toby, and Andrew in animated form?
Or Catherine Dr. Octopus. Or Lady Octopus.
There was I think it was a deleted cameo that originally was supposed to be like Tom Holland's Spider-Man or something that was going to happen at the end of the movie. Yeah. And then it changed into Spider-Man 2099.
Nice.
So that's the reason I'm bringing it up. So I guess, yeah, it's like, if you're going to do that, I was like, you know what, yeah, make it fair.
Yeah.
I may not be as crazy about them, who cares? It's the multiverse. Let's just see it, and if anything will change, it can change minds just if the way it's done, the way it's handled. With Doctor Strange, here's what kills me about this, because when they say the word multiverse, when I think multiverse, I think of different alternate Earths, okay? I think of Marvel Zombies, I think of Age of Apocalypse and stuff. I don't think of the many dimensions that Marvel Universe has, that Doctor Strange goes into to fight.
Right.
But when you talk about multiverse of multiple universes, yeah, those are included.
Right.
Those should count. So in other words, Dormammu's Dark Dimension counts, and the Realm of Nightmare counts, and the Mephisto's realm counts. All these places count. So I think that's really more where they're going with it when they say multiverse.
Right.
But expect more of that and less of, alternate versions of this character, that character. However, that being said, though, that was kind of the reason why there was rumored that Tobey Maguire would appear in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Because there was a hint of that, and part of it's not confirmed. It's still rumor, but part of that rumor also has to do with the fact of who's directing Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And that is Sam Raimi.
Nice.
So originally it was going to be Scott. Yeah, I know. I'm getting there. So Sam originally here's the thing. Kevin Feige back in like 2019 was announcing how this was Marvel's first horror movie. The major genre of this movie, while still seeing superhero stuff,
Ash versus the Evil Dead. Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Evil Dead versus Marvel Zombies. Fuck yes.
Just wait. Yes. Was going to be Marvel. Was going to be horror. The theme of this was going to be horror. Scott Derrickson, who directed Doctor Strange 1, is a director of horror movies.
Yeah.
More recent one, like Insidious and stuff. And so it was, or is that or The Conjuring, one of the two. I get that confused. And so he was really excited when they were telling him, let's do a horror movie.
Yeah.
Huh?
I like Conjuring 1 and 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, those are good.
Yeah.
But,
Nun was decent as well. I like The Nun. The Nun was fun. John and I saw The Nun.
So,
The Nun was fun.
The Nun was... I wasn't crazy about The Nun. Anyway, the point I'm getting at, though...
I liked it.
The point I'm trying to get at, though, is that Scott Derrickson is not a stranger to horror.
Yeah.
And he was really excited. Mm-hmm. But him and Kevin Feige had a difference of opinion.
Okay.
About what the movie, how the movie should be. And I think that's a polite way of saying that Scott Derrickson's version of horror probably would be scarier than Kevin wanted, considering that they're trying to sell toys and stuff. That he wants to do horror, but not too much, you know what I mean, I guess?
Yeah.
And it made sense to me when they switched from that dude to Sam Raimi. Because Sam Raimi can balance comedy with horror.
Right.
We've seen him with the Evil Dead franchise, like you said. Have you seen Drag Me to Hell?
Drag Me to Hell is okay. Drag Me to Hell falls apart if you watch Fayless's review of it. But
well, that's probably why I still like the movie, because I love Drag Me to Hell.
I think it's good, but at the same time, it's a little jump scary and it's a little like ridiculous in certain spots. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's like, okay, this person, like, okay, all right, so like
the Evil Dead franchise wasn't jump scary. Okay.
No. Okay, but it's like, all right, there's a lot of. It's fun in that Evil Dead where it's kind of wacky and just random crazy shit happens. So it's like, my problem with Drag Me to Hell is like the main character is that like she's all super guilty about what she did to the gypsy lady, when really it's like the gypsy lady is fuck the gypsy lady. The gypsy lady is like very much evil, and also she's super irresponsible. It's this is a woman that sent a little boy to hell because he threw a baseball through her window.
Let me ask you a question, though.
And it's just like, it's she's the real irredeemable villain that, and it's just like, so part of the problem is like the character is like running around feeling guilty about stuff like that for when she really shouldn't, but then she acts stupid and does certain things which I don't care what happens are unforgivable, like killing her cat, and it's like, all right, you killed your cat, you lost sympathy for me. It's just like I don't care what's going on, you leave that cat out of this. It's like,
okay, but that's kind of what I like about it, because the thing is, people forget that in horror movies, or actually in movies, just because it's a protagonist doesn't mean we're going to agree with everything that person is.
Right.
People need to get it out of your brain that when I'm creating a movie, you don't have to be a surrogate for you.
Yeah.
Okay? Not everything is that. And there are people who do that constantly with everything.
Yeah.
Okay? So what I like about her is that she's really not a bad person, but because of her, like her passive-aggressive nature or how she's so meek, things just keep piling up because she's not confronting the problem properly like she should.
Right.
That is her flaw throughout the entire life, throughout the entire film. And her not dealing with that is what is creating more and more and more of this shit.
Right.
And she doesn't learn her lesson. That's why she's punished at the end. And it's like, we didn't want her to be punished, necessarily.
Yeah, well, no. Okay, how come you couldn't fucking bend down and look in an envelope and see if a fucking goddamn button was in there or not? And not a fucking coin? By the way, how about Justin Long's boring-ass character in that movie? Oh, look, it's a signature coin. Of course he's a coin collection. Of course he's a coin collector.
No, I agree with that. His character is boring in that way.
Yeah.
It's no Tusk, so
Canada reviews the movies best.
All right. So anyway,
Anti-Phalite.
Back to Doctor Strange. No. Back to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So the point is, I can see that being a better fit, and I see that also the experience there, because Sam Raimi has experience with superhero films, is a big fan of Doctor Strange, has experience with horror, so it's a really good pairing.
Right.
Honestly, this movie, I do know that Baron Mordo is returning for this. Wong is returning for this. I don't know about
Sorceress.
I do not know about Dormammu because, honest to gosh, I think.
Yeah, I want more Baron Mordo. Like.
Yeah, no, he's definitely in this, but
Mordo was so good. He was so good in that.
Well, Mordo was great, and he needed to be in the sequel, in my personal opinion, because this is how we see him become a villain. Mordo was a classic Doctor Strange villain that they decided, let's take our time with him.
Yeah, let's make him sympathetic.
Yes, make him sympathetic, and let's see him evolve. Yeah, let's see him devolve into the villain, which never happened in the comics, and I think that was a nice touch. It was a nice take on that.
In fact, I think that's one of the things about the first Doctor Strange movie is why, Castile was very weak in that first movie to me. He was all right. He's just generic evil wizard guy, but Mordo was just I couldn't take my eyes away from him. Even Dormammu, as awesome as Dormammu I've come to bargain is, it's okay, I could have dealt with Dormammu throw it, having an actual fight.
Yeah, because that movie, like I keep saying, that movie isn't about the movie's about Stephen Strange,
right?
And it is, and in some ways, it's also kind of about Mordo,
right?
And that's where I just. That's where the focus is.
Mordo takes so much focus, but it's deserved, and it's and even as much as you could argue that Dormammu looks kind of weak in that movie because he's only there for a brief minute, and it's and I could have used a little bit more Dormammu awesomeness, but again, that one moment we saw him and Dormammu I've come to bargain was so impactful and so awesome. It's one of my favorite things about that movie is that he beat him by being smart. He beat him. He didn't just overpower him. He outsmarted him, and that's how he won.
Yeah.
It's just you're stuck in this time loop, and that makes you my prisoner. I love it.
For me, Dormammu wasn't a problem in terms of I didn't feel shortchanged.
Right.
By Dormammu, not doing anything outside of the time prison.
I wanted more Dormammu. Dormammu was like Venom in Spider-Man 3 to me.
No. Not for me anyway.
It's not bad. I just wanted more. I wanted more Dormammu. That's what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but for me, I don't agree.
I want more ice cream.
I just didn't agree that I needed more of him in this film. Do I need more of him? Period. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But in this film, no. Right. Because that's what I keep saying is that you need to space some of this stuff out.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with us knowing he exists and then doing more of him later.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like when they kill the villains off, because if you do that, then you don't get Loki. If you do that, you don't get Baron Zemo.
Right.
If you do that, that's what's wonderful. It's look, we get to. If you do that, you don't get Mordo.
Right.
Because Baron Mordo could have just appeared as I'm the villain.
Yeah.
And not really get into he has a long backstory to what makes him what he is. Here, they decided, you know what? Let's make his backstory part of this movie.
Right.
Part of the plot is that he was because he was the loyal servant to the Ancient One in the comic.
Right.
But now, in typical comic fashion, he got greedy and dark and power. I want the power, or I don't trust how you teaching me. He gets jealous because Doctor Strange became more of his apt pupil, so he becomes jealous, and there's a rivalry built there in the comics. Here, it's different. It's more like he feels like his master betrayed him because they didn't hold to the morals of what they were preaching.
Right,
they didn't practice what they preached.
He's kind of an extremist. He's a moral absolutist.
Yeah,
but he's also considers Doctor Strange a good friend. It's that's part of what.
And that's what I want to see in this movie. I'm really glad that he's in this. Rachel McAdams returns as well. I don't know how much she's going to do in this film. What's it called? Because remember, that was the
That was his girlfriend.
What was it? Yeah, was she a nurse or a doctor? I think she was a doctor.
She's
too.
a doctor, and it's and they could have used there was not a whole lot for her to do. The little they did with her was, I think, pretty impressive. Like that whole bringing back to light, like that whole astral fight scene was very, very memorable. She was used well in the small part she was in.
Yeah, I know that those people are returning to this film. Like I said, they're really tight-lipped on who the main villain is. Mm-hmm. So they don't talk about Dormammu. I personally believe it should be someone else anyway if they're going in this horror route, because Dormammu isn't nearly as scary as some of other Doctor Strange villains, particularly Nightmare.
Yeah.
That's his whole... I mean, the name is there. That's his whole thing. And so I kind of was hoping it'd be Nightmare. And now part of me is kind of hoping that if he's not the main villain, then at least he's in there somewhere. Because now you got me thinking, yeah, it would be kind of cool to see a cameo of Dormammu and a cameo of this villain and a cameo of that villain. So in that list, I started thinking of Mephisto. And this movie is taking place, and was always designed to be kind of a trilogy to go with WandaVision, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man. Yeah. They're meant to connect. Oh, that's another one I forgot. The Doctor Strange is confirmed to appear in Spider-Man. Doctor Strange is going to be in Spider-Man.
Nice.
In fact, like it's weird because Doctor
Strange is supposed to be in Multiverse of Madness as well. Yeah.
She will be there, but she'll be credited as Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to be going by that name much more than Wanda. I mean, you're going to have Steven go, Wanda, and she's like, that's not my name, kind of thing. I personally think that this is a theory, I could be completely wrong, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So I believe that on a rewatch of WandaVision, at the very end, she's in the little cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
And there's that one Wanda that's like holding the tea with both hands, and sweater, and she's walking around. And then there's another one that's doing the Doctor Strange, like looking at 10,000 million variables and whatever.
Yeah.
She's she's Scarlet Witch, listening and everything, and you hear her son screaming, "Mom, Mom, help us!"
Yeah.
That's when I started going, "Oh, bitch!"
Okay, that went over my head. That went over my head.
Did it?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
So, here's the thing. So Wanda created a lot of her grief or whatever, but if it wasn't for the screaming with the kids, I could have just said, okay, it's wish fulfillment. That's why she created these children.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're the idea that those kids are made of Mephisto's essence. She created life from Mephisto's essence.
Yeah, that's what it looked like on the surface. That she made them.
Yeah.
Because she made Vision, so she made them. Wish fulfillment. But if you pay it, and I started noticing this on the rewatch, she has little to no control over them.
Right.
Like with Vision, she had way more control over him. Same thing with the people of the town. But the kids, even with her magic, she couldn't make the babies quiet down or go to sleep.
Right.
She couldn't stop them from aging themselves.
Yeah.
She could convince them when they understand her, but she couldn't just hex them away like that. And that, combined with the screaming, made me think, okay, so she manifested their bodies. Mm-hmm. But what if when she's doing this wish fulfillment, she pulled two souls?
Yeah. That
were a part of Mephisto? What if that Mephisto connection still exists? And I know everyone went nuts, oh, Mephisto. And they went nuts because it was something from the comics. You have to understand that Mephisto is a being that he has a corporeal form, but what keeps him strong and powerful is that he consumes souls. And that the souls still live in his essence.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that her powers actually drained him. Mm-hmm. She took out two energy beings that have a consciousness, a soul.
Right.
Okay, and put them in bodies and didn't even know she did it.
Yeah.
She was completely unaware. And the thing is, now that she's becoming more attuned to being the Scarlet Witch in the MCU, her awareness is making her hear their voices. Because when she sent them away, she effectively sent the souls back to whence they came. and they don't like going back. Now that they have an identity, now that they understand where their home is, if you will, it's hell. It's goddamn hell. Mom, help!
Yeah.
You know? So, part of me is thinking the Scarlet Witch will be kind of an antagonist in this.
Yeah.
Because her whole purpose is to go find her kids.
Yeah.
And she doesn't care how she finds her kids. Meaning, it's not going to be... Because to open dimensions to different places, there's certain rules and ways to do it, where you don't rip open the fabric of time and space. Wanda doesn't care.
Don't hold to the Quartoth. It doesn't end well.
Yeah, Wanda's like, I'm going to do what I got to do. I don't care if this is a safe way to do it or not.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where Doctor Strange would be like, no, you can't open a portal like this. Fuck you. Oh!
Yeah.
It's multiverse of madness.
And then he's just like,
that's
forever, and like Loki's like, how does it feel? How does it feel to fall forever, Doctor Strange? It's what you did. Ah!
So me personally, I kind of see, and this could be off, but I kind of see this as Wanda goes off and does her thing. Doc Strange has to go fix it, right?
Right.
And in the process of chasing after her, he's unfortunately teamed up with Mordo.
Yeah.
Because Mordo wants to get rid of her because no more sorcerers.
Right.
So it's like, so I kind of see Mordo and Strange
bring back Agatha too, so we can get more Agatha and perhaps some more development.
I think she's not confirmed, but I would not put it past them.
Right.
For her to come back in this. Not only that, I would love. Remember, she took the Darkhold.
Yeah.
So that's what she's using to open up the portals and everything. And so that's another thing too. Like I would like to see. Personally, I would love to see. Again, we probably won't get all of him in this, but that's fine. I don't care if Mephisto only a small part of the movie. Mm-hmm. But it'd be cool as hell to see Mephisto, or like you mentioned, Chthon, which does have some times because chaos magic in Marvel Universe comes from Chthon. You're using his magic, and so that would be dope. They've already said chaos magic, the hex, all that stuff. So I'm kind of like, okay, some version of that is in this. So I'm kind of guessing that this again. My theory would be that that's what's going to happen. That she's the antagonist, that she's starting this shit yet again. But this time she's much more active. He goes to fix it. So Baron Mordo is forced to kind of join him because I'm trying to. It's kind of like Baron Zemo. Like I want to get rid of the super soldiers. Well, in this case, I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of you, but I also want to get rid of her. And the problem is she's strong, and I'm going to need you to get her.
Yeah.
You see? Mm-hmm. And so it's gonna be a similar vibe to like when Thor and Loki would team up in those movies. It's gonna be that kind of. I feel like that kind of dynamic is gonna happen in this. All right. Next is Thor, Love and Thunder. I almost said God and Thunder.
At this point of having some technical issues, okay. Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yes. You want to go first, or should I go first this time?
Thor, Love and Thunder. Okay. Yeah, I gotta talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. Okay, so there was a giant stink about this with the toxic politics of post, like, 2018 anti-SJW shit. And I believe we talked about it, and I was concerned about it at the time and whatnot, and at the end of the day, you said one name, and that made me feel better about everything, and that was Taika Waititi. It's like there's been a big stink about this. Oh, this is going to be woke, and there's going to be a lesbian relationship, and Loki's trans, and other dumb. Oh, and fucking like Jane Foster's going to be Lady Thor, and all this other crap, and all these things that are like this is going to be the worst ever. But then it's like Taika Waititi directed, and it's just like, oh. Well, then it's going to be fine, because it's Taika Waititi, and he's awesome. It's like he did Ragnarok, which I love. He did What We Do in the Shadows. He's, the movie about Hitler, which I forgot the name of, but I need to see that movie.
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit, thank you. Yeah, like no, he's great in everything. He's awesome. It's like it's going to be fine. It's Taika Waititi. And even in terms of that stuff, it's like, okay, like Valkyrie in a lesbian relationship. Well, the actress is a lesbian, so why not? I have some reservations about it being Sith being the person she gets together with, because I feel like a relationship that was never accurately explored in the Thor movies was the relationship with Thor and Sif. I think that, you know me. I hate Jane Foster. I hate her so much. I with a fiery passion. I mean, like, I'm kind of, like, I really feel like they never really got a chance to really flesh that relationship out. It was like she saw her, like, she was, like, jealous of Jane, and it was like, I really kind of wanted, I kind of wanted them to be a thing, and it's just like, and just kind of like, no, she's gonna hook up with Valkyrie. It's kind of like, I feel like there's probably a different character she probably could hook up with that would probably be better, that would work out, that we could do the same thing, have her cake and eat it too. I really feel like Sith and Thor should, I want to see them explore that. But I mean, again, we'll see what happens. I trust that man. I trust Taika Waititi. And once again, all the hemming and haw over this was just overreactionary, like, psycho-conservative bullshit, and I'm like, I don't care. And I think the last thing, okay, especially like the Loki, like, oh, Loki's trans, brr, brr, brr. Have you guys actually ever studied the fucking myths of Thor? Have you actually ever studied the myths? Thor, Loki is a shapeshifter. Loki can turn into anything. Loki can change into women. Loki can change into animals. Sleipnir, Thor Odin's horse, is his son because he turned into a horse and banged a horse, and it came out as a weird god horse.
Yes,
the calf that they eat that never dies in like in Valhalla, also his kid. Cerberus, also his kid. The World Serpent, also his kid. Why? Because Loki turned into all those different animals and fucked other animals and got that done. He's already, like, he's a shapeshifter. He's super trans. It's like he can go beyond, like, anything. And on top of that, there's been numerous stories in the comics where, oh, look at that, Loki's a chick now. Including one where he possessed Lady Sif, where he became a chick. So it's just like, so people overreacting to that shit is, like, is retarded. It's like, it's part of the character's origin. And, like, it's never really become too much of an issue. It's like, if they want to, like, I feel like they're overreacting to nothing. Again, it's one of these things they just don't want to see it at all. And finally, there's Jane Foster. I respect the fact that Jane Foster is very, very important to Thor in the Marvel Comics origin story. She's basically his Lois Lane. You really like the character a lot, especially because you're an older Avengers fan and you appreciate a lot of stuff. And I'm not doubting that the character was good back in that stuff. I was not impressed with Lady Thor, partially due to the rabbit hole of brainwashing I went down in the first place, where they... fine.
A lot of brainwashing.
Yeah. So people acting like it was the worst thing ever, and it's like, oh, she's just SG... But, okay, but to be fair, even beyond that, even beyond maybe not the best writing, my real problem with Lady Thor is the origin of how we got there. My real problem was with Nick Fury shooting a wad of the Watcher in the face, okay, and then being OP in a fight with the Avengers and whispering to Thor, Gorn was right, and Thor's like, oh, Gorn was right, and the hammer just drops out of his hands, and then and other things like, oh, she could pick up the hammer and become worthy. And because apparently we're playing on the stupid hammer being sentient now, even though the hammer said all gods are fucked up and not worthy, okay, well, the power made her a god, so shouldn't that, like, okay, seriously, the Mjolnir, if we're gonna play Mjolnir like this, Mjolnir should be like a deadlocked phone or computer. Like, where you just can't get it, you fucked up the password too many times? Yeah, it's done, that's a brick now. It's like, no one should be worthy, so, like, you shouldn't be able to pick the thing at all. But even then, I might be going on a tangent there. What I really have... Shut up, Josh. Don't stop. No, fuck your canon bullcrap. My real problem... No, the talking stick is not with you now. The talking stick is not with you now.
No, it's kind of time. I'm going to let you finish. But first...
My real problem, Kanye, is that the hammer cures her of cancer every time she picks up the hammer and becomes Thor, and so it's like, okay, so she shouldn't have cancer anymore, right? No, she does still have cancer, because apparently what the hammer does is the hammer doesn't cure her of cancer, it just wipes the chemo out of her body, and she keeps taking the chemo even though it's not helping her, and it just wipes the chemo from her body. It's like, okay, so let me get this. Magic which should work better than science. Magic is only doing one part of the healing, but not the other. So what you're telling me is Wolverine's healing factor, and Deadpool's healing factor, and Juggernaut's healing factor is better than Thor's hammer. That's retarded. It's fucking stupid. And it's all so they can have their moment where she dies, and I don't care. And again, this is one of the few moments I've ever actually rooted for cancer. And I have people in my life who deal with cancer. I also have an issue with her attitude of, like, no, fuck you, Thor. Fuck you, man I loved, who's saved me and saved the world numerous times. Go fuck you. Fuck you for trying to help me. Fuck you with your stupid magic. It's caused more trouble than good. No, I'm going to trust science. I'm going to sit here and die from cancer. Because I'm going to use chemo instead of instantly curing magic. It can instantly make me better because I'm an unrealistic person in a fictional setting, so I'm going to be nobler and stronger than any person ever actually would be. And actually knowing the real horrors of cancer and what it does to people and the constant agony people are in, like anybody, if you offered them a magic fucking like wish that would completely cure them, that they wouldn't fucking take it. I really hate it in fiction where they do this thing just because in the real world we don't have these gifts. We don't have magic where we can just like solve our problems, or crazy mad science where we call our problems, that we're just not going to do things. I have a huge problem when like resurrection pops up in your story and it's like no, but my mom just like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like Buffy, like when Joy Summers, no I'm not done. When Joy Summers died and Tara's like no, we can't use that power, Dawn, we can't use that power to bring your mother back to life. And it's like, look, I feel like that was handled better. Joss Whedon did a good job of that, and everybody that worked on it did. I have a problem with this. Like, we have magic, we have ability to make death. The oldest fucking problem humanity has, not a problem anymore. All your loved ones that are dead and gone beyond, yeah, you can bring them back right now, because magic. Oh no, we're just not gonna take. Fuck you. It's unrealistic. It's fucking bullshit, and it's stupid, and I fucking hate it. And so that's why I hate Lady Thor, because she doesn't make fucking sense. And Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers told me she was a bitch once because we know he's never wrong, and we know he reads lots and lots of comics. He doesn't just skew the headlines and make a bunch of, like, 10 videos a day complaining about issues that really aren't a big deal because he wants to suck people into his conservative conspiracy bullshit mind game horseshit. We know he's an avid fucking reader of New Warriors. That's why he made all those videos about it. We totally know that, and so for that reason, fuck Lady Thor. Other than that, I think it's going to be a great movie. I'm really looking forward to it. Taika Waititi's awesome. I'm really looking forward to it, and I feel like a lot of those concerns are complete and utter conspiracy theory bullshit. And Taika Waititi hasn't let me down. He's awesome. Stop ignoring me, asshole. It's your turn.
Okay. No, just you made a face earlier about your comment about Valkyrie and Sif.
Yeah.
You maybe couldn't read the sources you got it from. That was the first I've ever heard of it.
What, like the hammer being locked out, the hammer being sentient?
No, okay, because here's the thing. The reason the movie is called Love and Thunder is because Taika Waititi has said that essentially, I mean, there's going to be superhero-y shit, obviously, action and everything, but at the end of the day, the overall theme of this movie is going to be about love. It's going to be it's a love story. Yeah. This is a romance. This is going to be a romance movie with a bunch of crazy shit in it.
Yeah.
So he's essentially you know what that reminds me of?
It's going to be a supernatural sci-fi romantic comedy.
It reminds me of The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is a romantic movie.
Right.
But the sword fighting and science and New York rats.
Story within a story. Story within a story.
Within a story. Breaking the fourth wall. All that stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, here's the thing. One of the parts of the story that I do know of is that yes, Valkyrie is about to be revealed that she's bisexual, and that since she's king of Asgard, she's looking for a queen.
Right.
And Thor's going to try to find love for her.
Right.
Okay? Now, here's the thing. And as time has passed, more information has come in who's cast, and I was looking up to see how much is known. Because I do know, and I need you to calm the F down, but I do know who the villain in this is.
Okay.
And I'm excited about it, but I know you don't give two hoots. And it's Gore the God Butcher. Alright? Gore the God Butcher is being played by Christian Bale. So Christian Bale is going to be Gore the God Butcher. Alright. Now, When I first When I first heard this,
I'm just picturing Christian Bale wearing the lizard suit from Star Trek.
When
you're a nice guy. You're a nice guy, Kirk. Good for you. Good for you. My people settled this star system before you did. We're lizards.
Okay. Here's the thing. When this podcast ends, I'm going to send you. I gotta find a way to send you those comics with this. You have to read it yourself, because if you read the whole thing with Thor the God Butcher and then later Lady Thor and everything, you'll realize once again that you were misled by how that story was told. Okay, by people who don't.
Actually, fair. And let's put me on record here. If Josh proves to me that those stories are actually excellent, and then I will happily eat crow, and admit, yes, I've been less. I honestly tell you, I probably have been just misled, because I've been misled enough, and I've been misled a little bit. I'll probably be misled about the whole thing. There's certain things though, which was not the crazy, like, conservative QAnon conspiracy team Jeremy, Team Ethan, that brought this up, which was Comics Island, which is that, like, another YouTube channel I've talked to you about a couple times. And I'm more or less fond of them, but there's like two guys. There's one dude with a really effeminate voice who will do reviews and like do like analysis of various comics, and like top tens. I really like him. And then there's this other friend who has a very thick Hispanic accent, who like overly and like exhaustively reads comics, and then suddenly Emma Frost turned into steel, and like for constantly, he like reads the comic in his own way and like tries to show a lot of emphasis, and I hate it. He's like, I feel like, okay, you don't know how to tell a story. You're like, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but you need chill, and you don't have chill. And I remember he did an analysis of the storyline where, or like he did either an analysis or he did a story talking about like how Thor became unworthy. And all I remember is, so Nick Fury shoots Iwata the Watcher in the face. And I'm like, what? And then I dug down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, and that was like, that's dumb. That's dumb. That's dumb. That's not even like I'm not even saying that's not even like that's like it's not even so much that it's surprising. It's like, oh no, I believe Marvel wrote this because I feel like I've read enough comics. It's like I know how they work. Oh no, that was an idea. That was an idea. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell this weird story and I'm gonna do this convoluted bullshit, and they did. And it's like, but I'm just saying, like, that's like it's like dumb on multiple levels. It's dumb in like that doesn't make sense. That seems out of character. That takes me out of the story. And it's like, yeah, and also the final dumb is, of course Marvel would do this. It's dumb. It's like super dumb. It's just like that whole setup for how we got to Lady Thor. I have a lot of problems with, at least from my understanding of it. But I will happily come on here and eat crow if and when you send me that stuff and I read it and you prove me wrong.
Yeah, if I could find a way, because I have the digital comics, I don't even know how I can send.
We could review it, and I will like, hey, you know what, Josh is right, and it's just like, yeah, because again, it was like, I feel like this is a dangerous thing in terms of like misinformation nowadays. It's like we're so much more connected now than we used to be. We can spread information quickly, but we can also spread lies quickly. And a lot of people don't like, oh, did you hear that they're making Captain Kirk gay? And people just say that and it hits the rumor mill. They're doing that. Oh, I can't believe that. That's so stupid and I hate it. And they don't actually examine any further. And I'm guilty of that too.
And that's actually my point, because I kind of did this thing too. See, here's the thing. When I heard about this, it was back when, I want to say 2019, Comic-Con, where they were announcing all this stuff. And Jamie Alexander, the actress who played Lady Sif, was not included. She wasn't cast in it at all whatsoever. There was a mention that she's going to find Sif and do her. When I heard about the love thing, honestly, I thought they meant Jane Foster. I actually thought it was going to be Valkyrie and Jane Foster hooking up, and seriously, I'm serious. That's not confirmed though. That is not confirmed. That's rumor, but I did the same similar thing of whoever told you what about Sif. Well, I did one too.
I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that.
I may be the only dude who came up with this stupid idea, but I swear to God.
Wait. So they're not doing that, or we don't know if they're doing that, but that like
we don't know anything.
In my head that's what's going to happen.
Hold on, we don't know anything because here's the thing. Lady Sif, I just found out. That's why I was looking at my phone. Sorry, last minute research. So yeah, Lady Sif is.
I keep on porting back to like OBS to double check that we're live and the time's still going. That's why I'm talking right now. Back to you.
So Lady Sif actually is going to be in the film.
Yeah.
But when it was first announced, no, she wasn't.
Okay.
When it was first announced, it wasn't. It's more like now as things developed and this movie is, like 80% to 90% done. It's like, yeah, we can say, okay, this person. They're admitting to us who's here. Like it was last year in December when Kevin Feige got on TV and the internet and said that Christian Bale is going to be in our movie.
Yeah.
And to confirm who he was going to be, because some insiders pulled up that he was in talks and that he was going to be in the movie, but there was actually rumor about whether he was going to be hero or villain.
Okay.
And either he was going to be Gore or he was going to be Beta Ray Bill.
Okay.
And there's no confirmation if Beta Ray Bill himself is in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, Taika Waititi does like Beta Ray Bill a lot.
Yeah.
And Taika Waititi wanted Beta Ray Bill to be in Thor Ragnarok to begin with, but then had to sacrifice him because there was too much going on in the film. So he basically, and he admits this in the commentary. He's basically like, if you look, there's this big building with these faces in Sakaar. One of them is the Hulk, obviously. They're supposed to be the champions of Sakaar over time, and one of those faces is Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah.
It really is him. That's the closest thing I could do to put him in that movie. And I really love this character. I really want to do something with that character.
Yeah. So
I feel like if he doesn't appear in this movie, I think somewhere it's going to want to, like, because I really believe Taika is going to wants Beta Ray Bill. Like, I think Taika is either going to find a way to get him in this movie, or he's going to be like, damn it, let me do a Beta Ray Bill movie.
Yeah.
I would love for him to do a Beta Ray Bill movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I was going to say is that, so Jane Foster is in this. It's
I'd love to see Beta Ray Bill, and I'd also love to see Amora the Enchantress. We have never seen Amora yet, and we haven't seen the Enchantress.
That's I did. You know what? I did hear that she's not confirmed in the cast yet, but I did. There was somebody who had that theory, that if they introduced Enchantress into this, that it would be Enchantress as a love interest for Valkyrie, whatever. And I'm like, okay, but the point is, I have never heard Lady Sif the first time. But for me, I almost thought it was Jane Foster because, again, she and Thor are on the out.
Yeah.
Not together as of this moment and everything. And it'd be an interesting twist to find out that Jay could swing that way. And something that people confirmed, or at least they said, is that while Jane Foster will get the hammer to become Thor is still going to be Thor.
Right.
Like, he's still going to have the powers and all that stuff. So there's a way for basically two Thors to be floating around by the time this movie's done. And I was thinking, well, you can have the Thor we love go back to the Guardians.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, the Guardians are in this movie.
Wait.
Yes.
The Guardians. The Guardians of the Universe.
Of the Galaxy, yes.
Oh, wait! Okay, no, okay. Oh, I'm thinking of the Elders of the Universe for some reason.
Yes.
Okay,
well,
here's what happened. You said Guardians of the Guardians, and my mind immediately went to, like, DC Comics, and it's like the Owens are going to be in this movie? It's like,
no.
And then it was like, no, it's not that. It's not. It's the Elders of the Universe. It's like, they're not the Guardians. And then, oh, yeah! The beloved characters I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, so if things in another universe, we would have had Guardians Volume 3 already because it was supposed to come out first.
Right.
Right? And in that film, Thor was going to be there.
Yeah.
Because that's where we
But instead of Guardians 3, we got Tiger King.
Yeah.
Tiger King, disease, and misery.
Yeah, it's not just that. It was other things for why Guardians 3 got pushed back. But anyway, so as a result, we got Thor, but they're like, well, we want to pick up where we left off with him. So he's still. So when we see Thor Odin's son, he's with the Guardians. So Drax, Peter Quill, Mantis, they're all confirmed in the cast.
Right.
Okay? They're gonna be there. For how much, I don't know. I think it might start with them and then they may go away or whatever. I don't know what's gonna happen with that exactly. I don't know if I'm not even sure if Thor is really gonna go back to them, the Guardian of the Galaxy or not.
We don't know what happened to Gamora still after the ends of Endgame.
And that part,
and Gamora's just gone, and we don't know what happened to her.
Yeah, that aspect is not going to be talked about in this film. The Gamora part, that's going to be dealt with in Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But yeah, now, as far as I know, though, I'm not really sure how this is going to work too much because I'm wondering where she's getting. I guess is he going to give her Mjolnir at some point and what?
I'm hoping you wacky, actiony Benny Hill shenanigans.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
To grab the hammer.
It's gonna be fun. I trust Taika Waititi as well.
Yeah.
But I feel hard news of this though. Let me tell you something because I didn't get a chance to talk to you about it. About you yelling down my goddamn throat about how much SJW this and evil that and all kinds of nonsense. And so I never got to tell you that I assumed that Jane Foster was going to turn gay. Yep. And number two, what I kind of thought about this, like for example, when this was very early, and the movie called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the multiverse started playing in my brain.
Right.
So at first, I don't think they're doing that now, though, unfortunately, and that pissed me off. But for me, I was actually really, really hoping that this was an alternative universe Jane Foster.
Okay.
That Jane Foster from somewhere else that got the hammer and so forth. Because that would help for me liking that character. Because I don't really care for her in the MCU. Right. I love Natalie Portman, but I do not care for Jane Foster.
I really like Natalie Portman. I don't really care for her in the Marvel.
Jane Foster was never really engaging enough, and I was never really convinced about their relationship.
But they might turn her into Marcy Ross, and again, Marcy Ross was one of those characters like in Thor 1 and 2 who was like, oh god, why are we here? It's like I'm doing wacky things, wacky side, and then WandaVision, she's like amazing. WandaVision is oh my god, I love Marcy Ross now. And again, because she's a sitcom actress. That's what she's much like. Yeah.
Because the name is Darcy, not Marcy.
Sorry.
This is what this means. I'm trying to stop you because there's something you saying incorrectly here. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It can fix the character and everything. In fact, first of part of why she wasn't in Thor 3 was because Natalie Portman herself was unsatisfied with the character.
Right.
She pretty much didn't like being just Thor's girlfriend.
Right.
And nothing else.
Yeah.
So ironically, everything that people complain about in the movie, including me, like, she's just there. Now he's like, I'm just here. Why am I here?
A lot of times actors do that. It's a lot of times like I remember Brent Spiner had a huge problem with Star Trek Insurrection. He was talking to the director. It's like, I don't understand my character anymore. It's like, it feels like I've regressed. It's like, okay, John Boyega. John Boyega has gone on record, like, I didn't like the way the new Star Wars movies turned out either. It's like, I feel like they didn't stand up for me or anybody else. Like, when things went down for that, it's like, I mean, like, this doesn't, a lot of these problems, like, even the actors agree, it's like, it wasn't as good. So, but,
So with that being said, what happened was that she had one conversation with Taika Waititi.
Right.
And it changed her mind.
Okay.
That's the story. The story is she had like a conversation with dinner with him or whatever, and she's like, oh my god, I gotta work with this guy.
I am now more excited about this movie. You just actually you just 100% like made me feel better about this. Now mind you people, this man does have a problem where he upsells things. This man is a master salesman and has made me want shit before because like, oh Eddie, it's so good, and I believed him and he lied to me. He stinks of lies.
No.
He stinks of lies, but it's like, I don't think he's lying here. So.
Now, I'm still up in the air about this. Like there's things about it that I'm like, But here's the thing. the beauty of these films is that, and this goes for anyone making a comic book movie,
right?
But you have the opportunity to take away the bad aspects, because not everything is written perfectly.
Right.
Okay? So since it's been done before, you can take anything that was not really working in the comic and keep what was.
Yeah.
And then make sure it works for your movie.
Right.
If there was any problems with gore, you can fix them. If there's any problems with Lady Thor, you can fix them. You have that chance. Even if the things seem similar, the idea of the God Butcher going to kill all gods, fine. The idea that Jane Foster now has cancer or whatever, fine. It's just how you do it, though.
Right. Well, again, like I wasn't 100% on board with Sam Wilson being Captain America in the comics, but again, at the end of Endgame, when he gave him the shield, I'm like, it's going to be different this time, and it was just like, yeah, no, Sam Wilson is Captain America to me now. Falcon Cap, whatever we call him, it's like, yeah, no, he the end of Falcon the Winter Soldier, it's like, he's great, he's good.
But that helps to prove my point, though, because as a comic book reader, I read Captain America losing the Super Soldier Serum, passing the shield to Sam Wilson, he becomes the captain. And this is another moment where they took what works for that story and left behind what doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, if you just keep the good parts, it's going to be fine.
Right.
Because there was a lot of good in his tenure as
Captain. It's like when you adapt Stephen King's Zip, just leave out the child orgy. Just leave out every adaptation other than the original novel. We don't need it. We don't need it. You know, it's like we all need put in jail if we tried to film it. So let's just not.
That triggers me into remembering epic rap battles of history, Joker versus Pennywise. I will always remember.
That was good.
How's that going again? Tell your author for his next gangbang scene, how about a little more PG and a lot less 13? That's all I ever think of. That line, oh, it's perfect. It's like, yeah, what? It's like, really? Really? Of all the orgies, did it have to be 13-year-olds? Really? I mean...
Hey, look, don't blame Steven, blame the cocaine. That's the Ghost Rider book.
It was in full form that day.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I'm taking the wheel, Steven. And now the clown turns into a werewolf. And it's just like, the story kept going. I know at some point he's reading the chapters while it's still being done, going, wait, is he just a killer clown or not? What is going on here? He's changing form. Why? I got you. I'll explain why. I know why he's changing. Because many eons ago, there was...
Okay, so I'm picturing Stephen King writing with a mirror across from him in the desk, and he's having like a Willem Dafoe Golem type scene. It's like, I got this, Stephen. It's all right.
Yeah, no, pretty much. That's what I'm thinking.
He's just talking to him. His wife walks by. He's talking to himself again.
But yeah, no. Anyway, about this thing. So there's a bunch of that. Again, if you handle it right, it's going to show you. I think they can show you how to take those concepts and really make them work.
Right.
Again, and make it feel more earned. But as for who Valkyrie shacking up with now I don't know. Now it's up in the air because it could be like.
I want to like your idea that it might be Jane Foster. It's like, okay, I'm trying to like. Again, I like Natalie Portman. I wasn't really feeling her in Thor 1 and 2. I think it's important to note that I feel like I don't hate her in the MCU. Yeah. It's like I'm not like I feel like that was a weak spot and I'm not crazy about it. It's like it's kind of like my feeling about Baron Zemo prior to watching Falcon the Winter Soldier, but like less so. It's like I feel like Zemo, like again, Daniel Brühl was very good in Captain America Civil War. It's just he didn't really have a whole lot of time to really do a whole lot. And it's kind of the same type thing, but just kind of like more like this feels like a romantic comedy. This feels like not a comic book movie. It just feels kind of like not needed. And I also kind of go into this Frank Miller headspace where it's like, you know, like why would Superman ever give a shit about Lois Lane if he's running around with Wonder Woman? You know, it's like, you know, Mr. Brilliant comic book writer / fan fiction writer, Frank Miller, Daredevil and Elektra, the sexiest characters in comics. It's just like listen. I mean, there's certain celebrities. Yes, I don't want to know what their sexual preference is. Unfortunately, I know what Frank's are. It's superheroes fucking on rooftops. It just is. It's Daredevil and Elektra. It's his Batman and that Black Canary. It's like, I know what the man likes. It's like, but I also respect it. Yeah. Yeah.
Superman and Wonder Woman banging in the freaking mountains and shit.
And causing like tidal waves and earthquakes. It's like, oh, you are the Man of Steel. I'm pregnant again. It's just like this. Oh God, it's like this man. What the fuck is wrong with him?
I know. I'm Superman.
Yeah, and it's like okay, but I kind of get that. It's like, it's very romantic. It's like, why wouldn't you have your superheroes hook up? It's like part of the thing that I think was so appealing about X-Men was that was part of the book, is the drama, is like Gambit and Rogue, Wolverine, Jean, and Scott. It's like all the romance stuff, earlier stuff with Kitty Pryde and Iceman and Colossus and things like that. It was like, that's romance is part of it. So like I kind of have always held this feeling like, why wouldn't he just hook up with like Black Widow or some other cool female character? Why not Amora or Lady Sif? It's like, we got those options. It's like, but the idea is they're going to turn her into, if they're going to make her gay, it's like, okay, on the one hand, it kind of makes sense for why she lacked a lot of chemistry in the first movies. It was like, yeah, it just didn't feel like the relationship wasn't right. There was something about herself she hadn't discovered. That kind of works. But also, I feel like maybe I'm just kind of like, well, I don't like this character. And so maybe, we just make her gay. And it's like, that's fine, because I don't like her. And I'm like, that makes me look at myself. It's like, well, I'm just an asshole. Okay, throw the character you don't like to the gay character and have them be gay with someone, and then I'm fine with it. And I think that makes me an asshole. But if they're going to do that and they're going to make her like Lady Thor, it's like, okay, but then we've got like Valkyrie and her girlfriend, who's this version of Lady Thor, which they might do something different with or something creative with, and I'll probably like it more. It's like, that could work and be kind of neat. It was like, that might actually be like, I don't know, I'm hoping it will like make me feel better about the whole premise in the first place. A lot of times these movies do. Even not even in the MCU, it's like, one of my favorite characters in X-Men First Class was Azazel. And I fucking hate Azazel in the comics. And it's like you said, it's like they can take what doesn't work and makes it work better. It's just like, look, we don't need to go into the backstory of him being like a demon, mutant, winged thing from another dimension that makes no sense. Like, whatever the fuck Chuck Austin came up with at the time. We can just make him Nightcrawler's dad, who uses a sword and teleports and is a badass. And like, that's part of why he worked in X-Men First Class. So it's like,
Yeah, but that's I don't know, that was again, because it was the only cast members at the time announced, that's why I thought that was the case. It could not, it doesn't have to be. I don't know what the story is, and that's fine. I want to watch the movie. If it is, it is. It isn't, I don't care. Although, well, I haven't read up until that point with Jane Foster. I do know that after a major event, there's always a major event in Marvel, called War of the Realms, where Malekith ends up gaining armies from every freaking Asgardian realm, and it spills into Midgard and Asgard and starts burning the F out of shit. Yeah. Well, at some point, Jane Foster is no longer Thor, and she did die.
Yeah. And then she got better.
She goes to Valhalla, and she eventually becomes a Valkyrie. And so to this day, she's the main character of the comic Valkyrie. It's Jane Foster with her original brown hair color and everything. And that made me think for a second. That's what made me go, wonder if it is her. There's a Valkyrie connection there. All right,
well, you already know my previously conceived notions about Lady Thor and how flawed they are. Is she a good Valkyrie? Do you like her as Valkyrie?
I haven't read that though. That's the problem. I can't talk about Valkyrie.
You know that stuff. Bloody Valkyrie from Ultimates. You remember how much Linkara hated that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, well,
she was okay. The character. I thought like in the groinal area, she was like just like okay, I get where Linkara's talking about. Like I remember you showing me her first appearance where she was just kind of like the Defenders were kind of like a joke team in that. Hank Pym got involved in Ultimates, and it was like that was the point. Yeah. And so she was kind of a shallow character, but that was like it was part of it, like a complex story, and that was the whole point of it. And then they made her like Thor's girlfriend, where she was all bad. Like I remember like I don't know if she got any better at that, but I remember thinking to myself, ooh, Thor's sparring with a hot lady in a chain bikini. Like,
sort of.
Right,
not to get too off topic, but when she does gain powers, it's when Jeff Loeb is writing her, and that's where it's like, oh, she seems slutty or whatever. And at first it was kind of like, because she did still seem like a bit of a bimbo or whatever.
I went into Ultimatum, and Ultimatum was bad.
No, it was before Ultimatum, but still, she was in Ultimatum as well.
Yeah.
Jeff. Here's the thing: Jeff Loeb's first Ultimate Comics work was Ultimates 3, and I think he did like an annual to Ultimates annual or whatever, where he introduces or explains the Ultimate Black Panther, which is a really weak version, honestly. Like compared to the 6161, yeah, that Black Panther is. He's forgettable. I mean, he can kick butt, but he's nowhere near as cool as the other.
Yeah.
But no, Valkyrie ends up redeeming herself and getting better and everything. But she does. She actually does. It's not an Ultimatum. It's after Ultimatum. There was a comic called New Ultimates.
Yeah.
Jeff Loeb wrote it, and when it finally finished, because that book had huge delay problems.
Yeah.
When that book finally finished, it does end with her. She does die, and becomes an actual Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And she stays. She stays.
Yeah. All right. She died, and yeah.
Because
everybody was dying in Ultimatum. It was like the. Like again.
Yeah, but what happened? She didn't die in Ultimatum. Like I said, she didn't die in Ultimatum. What happens in New Ultimates is basically he fully explains where she got her powers, because she didn't have powers to begin with.
Okay.
And then when we meet in Ultimates 3, she has powers, but we don't really get into the explanation of that either. Mm-hmm. So in Ultimates, we find out that she got it through the Enchantress.
Okay.
The Ultimate Comics Enchantress and Loki. She basically she signs a false team deal, so she kind of betrays the team, sort of, because the payment comes due.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now it's time to pay us and help us do whatever we want to do. And then, so she tries to make amends, and the team fights, and eventually she gets killed, and she finds herself in Hela's realm.
Yeah.
She becomes a proper Valkyrie, but she can't be of this world now, because now she's a shield maiden of Hela and all that kind of stuff. So she goes back to the world to Hell with Hela, and there's other stuff to the story. But anyway, well, that's what I know so far about Thor: Love and Thunder, and my thoughts on it.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to surprise. Honestly, and I could be wrong for this, but I think it's going to surprise people how good it's going to be. I think it's going to be really good, and it's going to like blow people away. You're probably still going to have the people that are going to hate on it for no good reason, but it's like it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be one of those situations where it's like they open their mouths and then like close them. It's like, yeah, it's going to be really good, and there's not really much you're going to say about it.
I mean, for me personally, I think it also, this is all wish fulfillment in a way, because it works for me personally that I think Tessa Thompson was great. I enjoyed Valkyrie and everything.
I really like her as Valkyrie.
But I really felt like that Valkyrie was really more like a cool drinking buddy, best pals with Thor.
Oh, she totally is.
I really liked the vibe of them hooking up and everything.
I feel like they looked at each other that one time when he picked her up, and it's like, ooh, you're nice. It's like, ooh, you're nice, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like,
but yeah. So I really didn't. So for me, I wasn't one of those people that was shipping them. But
they have really good chemistry just in general. Like they
did
about international together.
Something about it was like it was cool because the movie decided to not play in that trope of, oh, we're two people of opposite sex who get along and fight together, whatever. We should, instead they were like, no, let them be friends.
Yeah.
Like
read my Captain America Black Widow fan fiction for that. So. Those are the two who are just friends who I think should do it. Yeah. It's like,
but what happens is, I have, and again, they did this chick dirty. But me personally, I always wanted to see Lady Sif and Thor. Now, as a comic fan, I know that Lady Sif and Thor hook up too. They have a long relationship, just like he and Jane Foster have a long relationship.
She's the wife of Thor.
Yeah, but in the show, in the movie, excuse me.
Right.
I honestly, I know she has this thing for Thor, and I've always was like, because the chemistry between Thor and Jane Foster was subpar for me, but the chemistry between him and Sif was better. I was just like, dude, just hook up with Lady Sif. She's cool anyway.
Yeah, and again, I think you and I are in the camp of we really like Lady Sif and like the Warriors 3, even though apparently not enough people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I'm definitely in the camp that is mad they got the Warriors 3 got killed off in
well, me too. Me too. But what I'm saying is that since I'm not really big on Thor hooking up with Jane Foster or Valkyrie, and knowing that Sif is in this, personally, I want to see Thor and Sif finally hook up, and then it'd be kind of funny to see, Thor's ex hook up with Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I feel like there's comedy there, but that's just me. Moving on. So, like I said, most of these...
You're getting absorbed in my head. Yes. Yes! Yes! I have taken over your body! Yes!
Alright, shh. They don't know what that means. So...
Oh god, gay panic!
Not me. I don't care. I know you're talking about your computer screen. They can't see what you're talking about.
Yes, they can. They're gonna see this.
They're gonna see our heads merging.
Well, I'm putting the box with my head on top of your head. It's just like Take
okay.
Yeah.
You're so dumb.
It's pretty dope.
Anyway.
I don't care what you're saying. I'm just looking at this handsome person right here. It's so good.
The next film in the lineup is. The next film in the lineup is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Okay. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah. Me neither.
Wakanda Forever. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Rest in power.
Rest in power. He's irreplaceable. I'm not sure what they're gonna do, but yeah, like you mentioned last time that they are gonna kill him off in the story for that reason. It's like they're gonna like explain that like he died somehow. I'm interested to see what they do, and I'm interested to. I am interested for like a memorial for Chadwick Boseman. And even though it may not even really be him, like they're gonna like it'd be good to see a conclusion for his character. So it's like, but like I didn't know that they were. I didn't know that this is like. Well, I knew that they were going to come out with a new Black Panther movie, but I didn't know when it was going to happen, and I didn't know too many details about it. So you know more about this than I do. So fire away, son.
Yeah, Black Panther 2 was always going to happen. It was always going to come out around this time or whatever, give or take the pushback. But of course, his untimely passing has caused them to rework how they're going to do this. I do remember them talking about, okay, we don't want to recast him because it would honor him, and it wouldn't feel right. And let's be honest, that's a lot of pressure to put on whoever plays Black Panther.
Yeah. Because
you had this beloved actor who embodied his character for the first time in the public's eye, in pop culture's eye. It's not like Batman when there's been multiple people who've played Batman. There's only been one person to play with Black Panther, and that guy is going to live in the shadow of not just a great actor and not just the first guy who ever did it, but that guy's dead. And chances are that man, whoever plays him, would have had a panic attack and probably died himself in his trailer, not being able to deal with the pressure of it. And I think maybe someone said that to the Kevin Feige and company. We're thinking, what if someone gets anxiety to the point that they, especially if they're on social media, while it's being filmed, this could be this could be a problem. I mean, things have occurred. So I'm like, yeah. So they're like, you know what? Let's avoid. Why don't we avoid a panic attack and avoid the drama of that, and just we'll have someone be him in costume or whatever, and show the events of his passing. Now, what I'm not 100% sure on who's going to be in the film and whatnot or whatever. There's kind of some rumors. I would like to go back and see if anything's been confirmed. Mm-hmm. But for me, what I've heard, again, great, take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I have heard that Shuri would take the mantle.
Okay.
And that this is going to be it's a big part of the movie of her pretty much doing the same thing T'Challa did in Civil War. That he had to take up the mantle from whatchamacallit, from his father. T'Challa had to become the mantle, right? So it's like, okay, I can see that. That could be a huge thing. The burden of her brother just passed and everything, but she can't even have the moment of grief because she has to pick up the mantle and whatever and deal with the threat. And it's like, okay. Again, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure on who they're choosing. But rumor has it, bear with me, rumor has it that the villain may be Namor, the Submariner.
Ooh. And you are a huge Namor fan.
I am, and there have been things to suggest that they have been trying to. Okay, I'm getting calls. That's the problem.
Yeah, we're gonna have to finish up like in a couple minutes. It's like 20 minutes anyway because.
I just got a few more things to rush through real quick because we don't know much about them, and I just want to quick thoughts.
Right.
So with this movie, I've heard rumors about that the villain would be that. I've said that they have been at Marvel. If you pay attention to certain things, there's certain maps in the backs of certain films dating back to Iron Man 2 that kind of point to where there's a circle that point in the middle of the ocean. That's evidence that they've always been looking for Atlantis. That it's there. If you pay attention to Avengers Endgame, Okoye mentions like after the 5 years have passed.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing of
earthquakes. Yeah.
Earthquakes, but we don't care. That's supposed to be Atlantis.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be rumblings about it. And what I've heard, if this goes the way I think it is, the idea is that Atlantis will declare war on the surface world, and particularly where they're closest to, which apparently is Africa and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Atlantis versus Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be that typical Namor thing where he's fighting for Atlantis. Because he doesn't, again, he's going to, at this point in his life, he's going to be like, every suck. Atlantis good.
Yeah.
And he's doing it for his people. If they do it right, I really feel like it's going to be that character where you could see the dimensions in him.
Yeah.
But he's not a terrible, horrible person, but he's willing to do terrible things for his people, for the greater good, for that kind of thing. It's like a king must do what a king. And I think it's a really cool. That would have been dope as shit to see him and Chadwick fight, of course.
Much like Flag Smasher in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but as a result, I think you can really play with. There can be some really, really good dialogue that comes from Namor talking to Shuri and about duty and loyalty and the meaning of all that kind of stuff and what you're supposed to do and what is it, You're still there?
I'm still here.
Okay.
You're kind of out of focus, but... Oh no! Josh, are you there? Connection lost! No! Oh shit, hold on. The connection was lost, sir, but I am back.
Okay.
Alright, I think we're okay.
The
connection got lost for some reason. Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, so I was just saying, I think the director, I want to say Ryan Coogler, I hope that's correct. Mm-hmm. He was a director and writer for Black Panther, or one of the part of the team, and he's doing this again. So I really think it would be dope to have some great dialogue between Shuri and Namor about duty and honor and loyalty and that kind of stuff. What does it mean? What's too far? What's what? Political stuff, and that'd be really cool. But that's kind of what I know so far. I really want to dig into that one. I don't know too much. I don't even know if that's really true, but I really feel like it is. So moving on, and I think it also helps the idea that you can deal with all these other characters. The fact that it is, Wakanda forever. It doesn't matter that he's passed. We live on. The king is dead. Long live the king. It's that kind of thing.
I'm looking forward to it. I think you'd mentioned Namor being in something coming up, but I didn't. If Namor's going to be the bad guy in it, I think that'd be really cool. I know some people are going to bitch, especially about Shuri being Black Panther. I believe she was the Black Panther in the comics. A lot of people in the anti-SJW crowd really hate Shuri because she mouths off to white men. And to be fair, I felt like she was really mean to Bilbo because everybody's mean to Bilbo. Is it just me or is I feel like Martin Freeman has another typecast, which is nice, good, down-to-earth person who people shit on regularly in everything he's in. Lord of the Rings, even Shaun of the Dead. His one cameo appearance is Shaun of the Dead. The zombies give him crap. He's always. And I can already hear the Jeremys and the Ethans of the world being all SJW, whatever, fuck them. It's like if Chadwick Boseman had not untimely passed away, this movie would star him. And they I feel like it also, that is a reference to comics. They did. Shuri's been around the comics forever. Shuri is her own thing. Shuri's pretty awesome. I feel like, she's a bit of a smart mouth kid, but I always like Shuri. I like Shuri when she's giving Hulk shit. It's I think Shuri's fun. I don't really, it doesn't bother me. Grow a dick, grow a pair, have a thick skin.
That being said, the next one is the Marvels.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to just go into this one so we can get through this fast.
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, because it wasn't originally the Marvels. This was supposed to be Captain Marvel 2.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I wonder why they changed the title.
So rumors are going crazy about this one because that's how they do.
Yeah.
Because instantly they were like, oh, this is because people hate Brie Larson. Let's shit on Brie Larson. So it's about, there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of the fact that they believe that due to her low popularity, this is a way to kind of soften her image and blend it by her mix with other people. Here's the thing. It was already a confirmation. If you don't know, one of the Disney Plus shows that's coming in between all this stuff that we've been talking about is Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. That is happening, okay?
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of her, and I finally saw pictures of her in the proper costume, because there's going to be a moment where she's in a makeshift costume, like she's copying Captain Marvel's helmet with the mohawk thing,
right? Because
she has a bike helmet.
Yeah.
With it's like the most jerry-rigged kind of I took Salvation Army clothes and spray printed it. It's that kind of thing. It's like, okay, she's going to make a costume like how Peter made his costume out of whatever. But she does eventually get her comic accurate costume. I've seen that picture from the set. It looks amazing. It's same thing like Sam's Captain America costume. Oh my god, the comic book accuracy.
Yeah.
I was like, holy smokes! He just came. They were like, no, we're not going to tone down the colors whatsoever. White.
It looks
on top.
It looks beautiful. Dude, it's so striking.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It looks great, but I'm just like, now we're at a stage where it's like, what? It's too cheesy in this fantastical world of androids, aliens, and wizards.
Red Letter Media brought this up way back with Avengers: Age of Ultron. Came down. Jack Packard, and Rich Evans are the two comic book fans on that group, and Jack Packard in that Half in the Bag episode is okay guys, I know you guys aren't really into comic books, you've been watching the movies. Vision, that's where comic books get weird. That's when they get really, really weird. He went down a record we passed that. We hit Vision. Vision is the point. Vision is the point where, okay, you're watching these movies, Marvel fans, okay, you're in this now. You're in this. There's no going back. There's no going back. Me, welcome to how weird comics get.
No, I argue that the moment where how weird comics get was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that too.
And when that movie was a mega blockbuster hit, dude, that was officially the time that Marvel could make they could print their own money.
Right.
Because if you can believe People cried in that first movie when Groot died. If a freaking talking tree and a smart mouth raccoon that is blasting missiles or laser beams out of his guns, and also demanding artificial appendages of people. If you can get behind this, and not bad enough,
and it moved you, a tree who said nothing other than "I am Groot" over and over again made me cry.
3 words.
Yeah.
3 words. The damn raccoon, and they knew it. They knew they had you by the palm of your hand.
Right.
If you could buy them, then there's nothing strange. There's no reason you can make Shang-Chi. There's no reason you can do Ms. Marvel. Because nothing is as strange as that shit.
Right.
Okay? The only thing. No, there's nothing strange.
I can't wait in a couple years' time when we're having the same conversation again, and we're talking about the upcoming Ecstatics movie. Because that's coming, sir. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Sweatman. Yeah.
Here's the thing about that, though. Like, if they ever decide,
we'll get to Ecstatics. I believe
if they ever decide, I feel like they'll never do that. I feel like they'll take those characters and throw them into X-Men movies.
Good enough.
Like,
good enough. That
no, hear me out, though. Hear me out, because now you started something.
Yes.
This is your fault. Because I read those books and I loved Ecstatics. Yes. But Ecstatics, which was formerly X-Force or whatever.
Right.
If you were to do,
that's weird.
If you were to do that in the MCU,
yeah.
Gosh, that actually feels more like a Hulu show, because because to do them right is to go past that typical Disney brand. I mean, they would fit better in a Netflix-like setting.
Yeah.
Not quite rated R, but close. Where the rules are, let's just tell the story, and then they can go balls out with the language, the violence, the fact that people die every goddamn second. Yeah. It's just like, and the shallowness of some of the characters, because the characters, what was crazy about Ecstatics is that not all of them, but most of them were kind of awful.
Yeah.
And yet, as the story went on, you really got to like them, and they became likable in a way. It's just like, wow, crazy. But yeah, no, that would be interesting. But because I'm trying to picture them in a Disney Plus series, and I'm like, I don't know.
I think people would get a hit out. I think people would really get a kick out of Bloop. Like Bloop was the green thing, right?
Huh?
Remember Bloop or Blip? The big.
Oh God, Dupe, dude.
Dupe. Thank you.
God, you're thinking of Dupe.
I think people would get a kick out of Dupe.
Oh no, that would be great. I'm not saying that's the thing. I'm not saying the idea is wrong. Hell no. I'm talking about the fact of the subject matter, because the point is, if you read that comic fits more in, like, it should be more of an Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu kind of show, not a Disney show.
Yeah, The Boys.
Not the way
talk about which.
Yeah, it's like more like The Boy in a way.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about.
It was more like The Boys in a way. But anyway, moving on to that. So the Marvels. So with the Marvels, it was always confirmed that Captain Marvel was going to have Ms. Marvel in it.
Right.
Ms. Marvel was going to appear in that movie. So was Monica Rambeau. She was going to appear in this movie.
Right.
And that's still happening. And now that I'm thinking, because of how successful Monica was and everything, how many people love her right now.
Yeah.
They want to see more of her.
Yeah, dude. Any issues that I think there were with Captain Marvel or Brie Larson, like Monica Rambeau came in WandaVision that made me like, no, I want more. I want more story from them now. They helped.
And the kicker is her being included into the movie and everything started making people go. With this title, it's like, yeah. First off, you want to have interesting titles. You don't always want Captain America 2, Captain Marvel 2, Captain whatever.
Right.
But the Marvels, I'm like, oh, that kind of works, because here we have Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, we have Ms. Marvel, and we have a character that the comic book fans know was once a Captain Marvel in Monica Rambeau, even though she's probably going to be called Spectrum or Photon or one of her many names.
Right.
But with her there, so now, I don't believe this, but there are rumors of saying that it's possible that this movie won't just have Monica in it, but we'll have Monica phase Brie Larson out as Captain Marvel.
Okay.
right now I don't believe it. Is it possible? Sure, but I honestly think the more likely thing is that what ends up happening is that these three ladies will end up becoming a team at the end of this movie called The Marvels.
We'll see what happens. I honestly feel like Brie Larson has to do a lot to piss me off again at this point. I feel like I'm done hating that woman, and I'm like, you know what? Unicorn Store was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And not for the best reasons, but it's at the same time, I again, like you were telling me about how like she was working her YouTube channel then during the pandemic. It's just like, I'm done hating this person. It's like she's lonely, she's interacting with people. I feel like I get her. Also, I see her as a person now. I'm definitely willing to give her another shot. I didn't think she was bad in her first movie anyway.
This is not a plug, but I am someone who watches Hot Ones on YouTube. Yeah. And I highly recommend you watch that show. Okay. Essentially, it's another interviewing show. Right. With I can't remember his last name. I know his first name is Sean. Okay. And Sean is actually a really good interviewer. And it's him. They've changed. It's been virtual now because of you know what. But the original premise was it's Sean in a chair. There's a table. There's the guest, and that guest can be from anything. It could be a rapper, actor, a pro wrestler, whatever. It doesn't matter. All right. And in front of the two of them are 10 chicken wings. In some cases, if they're vegetarian, however, there's vegetarian option. Doesn't matter. The point is, there's 10 wings, and each one is covered in a varying degree of hot sauce. Right. As it goes on, we get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. Okay, to the point it's like whatever. So it's like it's a hell of a show because you still got to answer questions while dealing with these spicy ass wings. Yeah. And these people, you get to see who can handle it, who can't handle it. Some of them go through an existential experience through the freaking wings.
It's hard to lie when you're eating hot wings.
It's the most painful truth serum. Yeah. And but dude, it is fun. It is funny. It's really kind of cool. If there was a celebrity that you weren't crazy about or really didn't like, you can't get more likability than this show. Yeah. Because the queen of the wings strips away pretense. Yeah. It strips away all that ego and to get into it. I bring all this up because during the pandemic, Brie Larson was on Hot Ones. Nice. And so she was eating, and now I felt bad for her, but also I felt bad for every other person who was doing Hot Ones during the pandemic. Yeah. Because they can they can do the video call like we're talking right now, but the thing is they were told, okay, you need to prepare the wings yourself. Oh. So Brie and other people like her went really heavy with the sauces when they mixed them in the bowl. Oh. So he's like, because he even mentioned when he sees them, he goes, that looks a lot thicker than what I have here. Yeah. Are you going to be okay? Because when it was in the show, they knew just the right amount to put it for both the host and the guests. But here we got these people.
A gallon of milk and four loaves of bread just to get through it.
There was one of them where it was like the celebrity couple, like one was a football player and the other was an actress and whatever, and they made the wings together and they did the thing together. But it was hilarious because it's like, oh, I like spicy food. Mix, and you got to remember, it's different sauces, right. So you got to make sure that there's a wing for each sauce, right? Mm-hmm. And each sauce does get ridiculously hotter than the next, yeah. And it's the first time I've ever learned of Scoville score and that kind of stuff. I didn't know any of that stuff. Yeah. But I explained that, and that's So I personally that, and also it's harder to tell people because constantly, Sean is telling him, hey. Watch your hand. Don't touch your eyes. Don't touch your eyes. Easy with your hands, because it's and it happened. Freaking Gordon Ramsay did that, and he knows better.
Yeah, he should.
Like Gordon Ramsay. No, because it's funny. Because in the interview, and this is not during the pandemic, but in the Gordon Ramsay one, which I recommend, is very funny, because he's cursing 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's Gordon Ramsay.
He's like. Like, fuck! These guys are so fucking hot. You're trying to kill me. It's the best. And plus, he thinks he like comes prepared.
Yeah.
Because normally they give you choice of like water or milk to cool down or whatever.
Milk is recommended.
Gordon comes in there with freaking lemon juice and freaking gourmet donuts, and because sugar is supposed to help to So, and actually I've tried this too. Lemon juice does actually work depending on how hot the hot sauce is. Mm-hmm. There's a science to this. But he didn't realize is that but there's certain ones that the level is so much that I don't give a shit how much donuts you put in your mouth.
These are the Brazilian insanity peppers from The Simpsons.
Oh no, these peppers. No, pretty much. These are sauces where some of them are made with the Carolina Reaper, some are made with the ghost pepper, that kind of thing. Yeah. And they're the kind of sauce that's like really thick, and you're supposed to just put like a drop or two, and that's it. Literally goes along where you mix it into a liquid or something. They're not for you to go like woohoo. No. You're gonna die. Yeah. Okay, so speeding through. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes left. So.
Yeah, the last two on the list were Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. With Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I know you and I are both looking forward to that big time.
Yeah.
Everybody was looking forward to that movie. All I can tell you with that movie, because I don't know anything about the villains, I do know that the movie is, by James Gunn's admission, it's going to focus a lot on Rocket. He always wanted to tell this personal story about Rocket Raccoon, which is going to deal with his origin stuff. Rumor has it that the villain involved might actually be the High Evolutionary.
Ooh.
And the High Evolutionary is the man who made Rocket, along with a bunch of other animal people.
Yeah.
Including Rocket's girlfriend from the comics and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that would be really cool. Thor is going to be in it. For how much, I don't know. And they will... It's shenanigans. Crazy shenanigans. I know the whole Gamora thing will be in there as well. I'm not sure if Adam Warlock is in there. I hope he is.
Yeah.
Honestly, hope they pay off that. But,
I was expecting him to pop up in Infinity War, and he never popped up there. And, I was kind of waiting.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah. I think it was because he was supposed to pop up in Guardians 3. He was always meant to be in Guardians and on the Guardians.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, it's been confirmed that the villain in there is Kang the Conqueror.
All right, nice.
And you know how I feel about Kang. I love Kang the Conqueror. Jesus. So I'm really looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. What I'm also looking forward to is, again, this has to do with rumor. If rumor's true, I think this may be where we get the Fantastic Four first.
Nice.
I personally think that we know the origin of them going into space and getting the cosmic rays and shit.
Right.
How about we don't do that? How about instead it's that they exist in here? And the beauty of this too is because they're stuck in the quantum realm is what I'm getting at. Imagine them stuck in the quantum realm. The quantum realm it helps to explain the whole power thing that happened to Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right.
What if that's what happened to them? Mm-hmm. But also remember, these characters could have been there for decades.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that Hank Pym knew them when he was younger. That Reed Richards was a thing, but he's gone from all media knowledge or whatever because he's presumed dead and everything. And
yeah.
He and everyone else is there. And it would be really dope if in this quantum micro realm, whatever, they're trapped.
Right.
They've been trapped in this city this whole time that's ruled by Kang the Conqueror. What if Chronopolis lives in that tiny microverse?
Right.
Which that's a deep from the comics. So I'm like,
X-Men is just wandering around where some weird janitor keeps popping. Someone's screwing the time.
Yeah, that would be cool. So yeah, that's it. Speed version. That's it.
I look forward to it. I want more X-Men. I'm looking forward to X-Men popping up and showing up in more.
I agree with that. I do believe we're going to see more mutants sprinkled throughout this thing. Here's the thing. I think because I don't think we're going to get a movie in Phase 4.
Right.
I think his plan is to make an X-Men film in Phase 5 at the earliest, and all this stuff that I'm looking at feels like this is all Phase 4. Like Phase 4 looks to be extremely thick.
Right.
Because when you put into mind all of these movies, plus these Disney Plus shows. Because, dude, I mean, you already know about the two that we've watched. Loki's coming out. What If is coming, right? And I actually sent you a video on Messenger. You should watch it.
I haven't looked at it yet. I've downloaded it, but I'm going to
look at it. You should watch it. Seriously. What If Hawkeye? Hawkeye is a series, not a movie.
Okay.
And Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
The female Hawkeye from Young Avengers is in it.
Nice.
Okay. She's cast. Oh, it's wonderful. So that looks cool. What else is there? Other Disney Plus shows that are coming: Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight.
Nice.
We're gonna get Armor Wars. We're gonna get it's way in development though. They're really tight-lipped about Armor Wars, but they're announced that it exists. They're doing Disney Plus show Secret Wars.
Yeah.
They're gonna do that. No, not Secret Wars. Excuse me, Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing Secret Invasion as a Disney Plus miniseries,
which would explain why we're seeing all these scrolls all over the place. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yeah. That's the thing too. Like, it's crazy because see the little Easter eggs that they're planting in WandaVision with the squirrels and Monica there. Look, pay attention to the little things they're adding in Falcon and the Winter Soldier about U.S. Agent and Valentina. I'm just like, dude, I'm telling you, there's a whole bunch of pots being stirred. You got to pay attention because all this stuff's building into the movies and coming back and everything.
Yeah. By
the time this Secret Invasion and Armor Wars, they're not planned for at least 2023.
Right.
Which means all this stuff we just talked about is going to happen before then.
Right.
So just imagine what could actually be in those projects.
Yeah.
How many characters, how many appearances, it's going to be insane. Yeah. And the last thing I want to leave on is, and I don't remember the year it's coming out, I think it's 2022, maybe 2023. James Gunn's behind this. They're going to do a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Nice.
And it is worded that way in order to kind of poke fun at the Star Wars holiday special.
Oh, yes.
So James Gunn is writing and directing this Disney Plus holiday special.
Cross it over. Do it. I want to see the lightning, the Wookiees, and everything. I want to see a CGI Luke Skywalker and have it in canon. Fuck it. Do it.
I would love to see as many in-jokes as possible. It would be hilarious if the special is similar to the format.
Yeah.
If that special is like the format.
Instead of the Wookiees, it's Groot people. It's Groot's people.
Yes. No. Imagine it's a bunch of Groot's race, and you can't understand what they're saying. It's just, I am Groot, and they're gonna. And there's a Harvey Korman character with James Gunn's humor. That would work though.
Yes.
Like it's intentionally meant to mess with you. It would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Depending on how they did that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for now. We've been going for a while.
Yeah, and I got like a game I gotta run in 6 minutes. Before I go, let's plug my stuff. So yes, everybody, when you get a chance, check out my stories on Wattpad. I just wrote Full Moon Over Dubai, and it's this and One Last Kiss and a little bit of Dead Man's Chest here are kind of, I'm playing into an idea of like I want to do kind of like a horror Justice League, a horror Avengers setup, where I'm kind of setting up certain characters that are going to interact with each other at some point. Dead Man's Chest is really just kind of like a love letter to some of the pirate history here in Florida. Check out The Howling of Insects. It's my Call of Cthulhu little love letter. It's just the kind of weird idea I had. I think it's neat. Safe Space is good and political, and I think, given when it was written, a little precognitive of what was going on. And The Spookening, which I was going to read today. It's less than 2 minutes. You want to read The Spookening real quick?
You're the one that tells me you got a game to get to, though. But otherwise,
I'll make those motherfuckers wait. You want me to read this?
All right, let's go.
Okay. The Spookening by Edward Peeler. Eddie arrived home at about 2 a.m. Tired from work, he left the driver's seat and slammed the door. He walked to the other side of the car and opened the passenger compartment of the old Toyota. It was dark and an old car, so no lights came on when he opened the car. Turning on his cell phone flashlight and waving it around, he eventually found his book bag and pulled it out from the car. As he slid it onto his back and turned from the car, he turned and faced the house. And then he jumped back at what he saw. From the window there was a figure, humanoid and skinny, looking down at him through the blinds. The creature was bald and round and misshapen and shirtless. The creature had no face, like Slender Man. Eddie cried out in terror. A loud slamming noise awoke Ed from a long sleep. Whatever that was, it was too close to the house. He knew he better go down and investigate. Ed walked downstairs and looked at the living room window. He saw a strange vehicle and someone shining light and some shining light waving around. Thieves! They must be trying something. I better get my gun, he thought. After crying out in terror, Eddie looked closer and realized the otherworldly creature in the window had a face. It wasn't Slender Man. It was his dad watching him from the window. He waved at him, and his dad waved back. Oh, it's just Dad, he thought. I better go in and see him. When the thief suddenly jumped back in terror, Ed realized everything was okay. Oh, thank God. It's not a thief, he thought. It's just my dumbass son coming home from work. His son waved at him. He waved back and closed the blinds. Ed breathed out a sigh of relief. I'm going back to bed, he thought. Eddie entered and walked in the front door to the living room and looked to the window his father was at. And he wasn't there. He was just gone. Now, nowhere to be seen. Maybe he's in the kitchen, he thought. Or the downstairs bathroom. He walked to the kitchen, but he wasn't there. The lights were off. No one had been here in some time. He checked the bathroom, also dark. If his dad were up, wouldn't he be in the kitchen watching the news or having coffee while working? But he was nowhere to be seen. Where did he go, Eddie thought. Was that really his father he saw in the window? If it was, how did he leave so quickly? What if it wasn't his father? What if it was a ghost? That must be what it was! A spooky, spooky ghost! The phone ringing startled Ed awake again. God damn it, he thought. What is it now? He looked at the phone. It was Eddie. He stared at it for a moment. Maybe he's in trouble. He thought, I better answer. Hello, said Ed. Dad, said Eddie. Where did you go? I went back to bed. Oh. There's a long pause before Eddie speaks up. Dad. Yes? Are you a ghost? No. No, I'm not a fucking ghost. Oh. Another long pause before Eddie speaks again. Well, I got home and I looked up at the house and you were in the window and you looked all scary. Yeah, I heard a car door slam and I went downstairs and I looked out the window. All I saw was some weird light shining and I thought someone was going to rob the place. No, that was me. I was looking for something in my car. Oh, okay. God, Dad, you look so scary, though. You didn't have a face. I assure you, son, I have a face. Dad? What? Are you a demon? No, I'm not a fucking demon. Can I go back to bed now? Dad, are you Slender Man? Who the fuck is Slender Man? It's a long story. It's an internet thing. Oh. Another long pause before Eddie speaks again. Wow, this is kind of embarrassing. Yeah, it is. It'd be really embarrassing if I wrote all this up as a short story and put it online. I'm going to bed. Ed hangs up the phone and goes back to sleep. Eddie stood in the living room for 5 minutes picking his nose. My dad is totally Slender Man, he thought to himself. And that is the Spookening. And you hate me. Based on a true story, I'm that dumb.
I'm sure it is because it feels like a real story.
Yeah,
between you.
Happened.
So, okay.
I got out of my. Yeah. What?
I said, well, that happened.
That basically, yeah. The other stories are more serious than that, but that was just something dumb that happened that I had to put on a.
Can you guarantee me? Can you guarantee me that the stories you've written so far are better than this?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Okay. Okay, then I'll read them.
Yeah, that's just. That story is just something dumb that I did in real life, and I knew you would. I knew it would hurt you.
It is. I'm like, why?
I recommend Howling of Insects. I'm really proud of Howling of Insects. One Last Kiss, I realize, is like the most generic fucking title I could have possibly picked, but it's like vampire themed. And I realize I'm kind of like I've been writing a lot of what I've been coming up with is kind of revenge stories with these creatures, but I think they're fun. But yeah, and I'm officially late for my D&D game, so we gotta wrap this up. We'll
gotta go.
Okay. Good time. Catch you in the next episode of Pirate Radio. A final thought, sir?
No, not any at the moment. I will say, trying to think. I don't know, between you and me, we'll figure out what we can talk about next. I have some ideas, but I prefer that you saw them first, but...
Like The Boys that we talked about last time, I think The Boys might be a good idea.
Yeah, The Boys, it'd be great if you saw The Boys, because you should just see The Boys anyway.
Right.
But that would be cool. Last week, I finished watching Invincible.
Okay.
That came out on Amazon. based on the comic book by Robert Kirkman from Image Comics, Invincible.
Nice. I'm familiar with Invincible.
One of my personal favorites and one of the best comics in the superhero genre that I've ever read. Excuse me.
Yes.
It was an 8-episode season. It finally finished. They were dropping, one each Friday. It's done, and people are talking about it. But I loved it. And if you saw it, that'd be really cool. Because if I talk about it here, I'm just going to do non-spoiler. Okay. So,
I got my homework. I think both those are good choices. But yeah, unless you want to stay for the D&D game, man, I'm gonna head out. And so
I really gotta head out myself. Okay, I got some plans.
All right, love you, man. I'll see you next week. We'll get to this.
Let's start with Josh signing.
Yeah, see you around, folks. Catch you later.